Righto, we are joined in the studio today by a couple of mad dogs, Dylan River, Isaac Elliot, director and producer of the film Finke, There and Back. I went and watched it last night at your IMAX screening, and I must say I was very, very impressed, and I was stoked that somebody told like a really authentic and cool version of the story.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you. It's been a long time coming. We filmed this in 2017, and it's been a long lead up to the release. But, as a filmmaker, nothing's more rewarding than sitting in a cinema watching people respond to your film. So, cheers. Yeah, no,
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Like, I didn't really, hadn't seen any trailers. I hadn't I was actually out there in 17 filming with Toby, just doing like his... film. Yeah, I actually saw myself in the film there a little bit. But yeah, and I sort of knew that you guys were filming, and there was a bit of a buzz around you guys doing the filming, but sort of since then, like, it's just haven't really heard too much about it until this release. So didn't know what to expect, but I was absolutely blown away, and I enjoyed the way that you approached the film. Obviously, do you know much about my background as a filmmaker?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, I've seen your stuff you've done with Toby and Red Bull and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know the full story.
Yeah, but I guess like just the fact that I do that, and have been at the event, it's just such a different way that you went about it, and I'm glad that someone did. So I guess where did it start? Like, where did this project kind of come to life?
I mean, Isaac and my friendships goes back to kind of the later years of high school.
Oh, okay.
My parents are actually both filmmakers, and Isaac asked me to help him out with a film he was making, thinking that I knew how to make a film because my parents are filmmakers, and I didn't at that point at all. But it was actually Isaac that sort of sparked my interest in filmmaking, and we bonded over motocross and supercross, and not only riding but just watching it religiously together, and then simultaneously sort of developed this, film career separately. Isaac went down to Melbourne and did a degree down there, and I kept just making little things in Alice Springs. And then along with that, I was that kid growing up in Alice who, you had two options. One was playing AFL football or riding motorbikes. And because my dad was shithouse at kicking a footy, he liked motorbikes, and I think that sparked an interest for me. And like any kid in Alice who grows up in the motocross scene, Finke's sort of this thing that comes around when you're a senior, when you turn 16 and you're able to race it. And I guess it's sort of a proving ground to prove that you're who you are, and becoming a man and whatnot. And so I raced it when I was 16 for the first time, and I raced 8 Finkes. And
no way, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so sort of I come from, I guess, this clash of a motorbike background, a Finke background, but then a filmmaking background. So after only finishing, I think 3 times out of the 8, with a few broken bones and a few mechanicals and a bit of heartbreak, I sort of just started thinking, why am I doing this and what's it all about? And, the film for me sort of came probably out of frustration of the race and wanting to, I don't know, not that no one had done it justice, the film, but I just kind of, I
think no one had ever done it justice, to be honest. I think that the way that you guys told the story was, I mean, even me, like, I've only ever been out there with Toby, and it's always about those lead guys. And I think that one of the more special things about the film is the characters that you chose, and it wasn't the traditional elitist version of Finke coverage, and I'd always thought that it hadn't been done properly. I think that the way that Red Bull's covered Tobes, I think that stuff's been done properly, but I don't think that you really capture the essence and the spirit of the event in the way which you guys did.
Well, it takes being embedded.
Pull this a bit closer, I think.
It takes being embedded in the race for your whole life to know what these stories are and what these stories will be. So people that go up there and film it, they know what happens in that race, and they know what happens to the people that they film. But Dylan and me, to a lesser extent, knows the ambulance story and all the other slower riders that you haven't filmed. Yeah. And so you can expand on what the race means, and also what it means to the riders over the decades that we've been watching it.
Yeah, well, what was the guy's name that had won the 5 and then...
Yeah, Randall Gregory.
Yeah, Randall Gregory. Like, even that was like such a cool story. And and honestly, like, I was sort of trying to watch it through the lens, like half the lens of just being a fan, then half the lens of like a technical storyteller's like filmmaker perspective. And I think that the way that you guys used the score... it just, I don't know, it had all the right feels.
Thank you. I think, I mean, look, we tried to capture it from as many angles as possible.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we were following the front runners, and I think we were quite fortunate that year Toby did hurt his leg in Dakar and he was still recovering and he didn't race, which really opened up the field for a lot of local people. And we knew it was going to be, I mean, not to take away from their win, but you know, we knew that if Toby's there and he's healthy, it's really hard to beat him.
Yeah.
And it definitely helped our story and our cause that year.
Yeah. The only thing that I like, you guys, that my only critique of the film would be that you painted Toby to be like the full rock star. You showed the house. Like, I understand the setup, but I feel like there should have been a caveat that showed the humble beginnings of where he come from.
Totally.
I know timing wise that it's not like you can allocate a bunch of time into telling that backstory, but I think it painted him to be a bit of a like the rock star version, which he is now, but that was because of that race, and I think that was maybe a missed storyline.
I think I mean, access was always hard with Toby, and we found that even with the release now that he's such a busy guy that it's tricky to get him for 5 minutes, you know. But I actually captured some really great footage with him in the year he tried to ride, and he kind of, I was there the day he sort of called it and went, I can't do this race this year. But you know, we put it in the edit for a certain amount of time, and it was great because he was there getting his legs strapped up and he's you know, sitting in his jocks, and it sort of showed Toby in a different light. And just joking with the boys, and you know, that like a lot of things when you edit these films and you have to get rid of things that you really love, scenes that you really love to weigh another story up, or just that balance. It's a balance, you know. And
I understand, like, it worked. Like it did work in the story, but I mean, from my end, knowing,
you know him,
like, I know, I'm like, man, like all of his riches that he's got now in the mansion, like that literally started because of Finke in 2010. Yeah, and it's like, how much time can you give to that storyline with everything else that's going on?
Totally.
I was like, that was my only thing. But again, it's just as a guy that knows the story. You know?
And I hope that a lot of people who watch this film do know the Toby Price story, and now this is opening their eyes to other people's stories. I hope that, you know, a lot of our audience are familiar with him already, so we're not taking away from what he's achieved. Yeah,
but I mean, that would be like my only thing. I fucking loved it. Like, I really enjoyed all of the storylines that were chased, and even I've been out there 4 or 5 times now, and there was so much stuff that I didn't know. Obviously, with Damon passing away right after winning the race, like, it was and man, fuck, I've got goosebumps now. But like in the theater, like when that graphic comes up that says that he passed away while leading a race, like you could feel that there was like a real sense of sorrow in the room. Like any positive energy that was in the room, like it was sucked out by that, you know, by that message. So I think
it still affects us and all the locals really heavily, you know. I think every time we watch it we have the same feelings, and that happened when we were editing the film. So, you know, I was 3 or 4 months into editing, and he was I'd actually planned to go and film with him to bring his character up a little bit more in the edit, and just to shoot a little bit more backstory stuff. And that was the week before that happened.
Really?
So, I mean, it's heavy stuff, but it you know, it again just talks to everything that we're trying to discuss. And, you know, as motorbike riders, or just you know, people in life searching for these sort of, I guess, existential sort of experiences, you know, that is motorbike riding in this case, but you know, the inherent dangers that come with that.
Yeah, and I mean, your story as well, like Finke, is where you had your accident. I'm trying to remember if we knew each other before your accident or not.
No.
It wasn't.
No.
I think the first time we would have met was when you were doing the your film on the MX Nationals, yeah?
Yeah, so 2009, you had a website?
Yeah, MX Daily back then.
MX Daily, Verb Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we would have met. I just rode around in my quad.
Yeah.
Got in trouble with Kevin Williams quite a bit for crossing the track during races.
Fuck.
Just
trying to make it work.
just run a bit of a muck. Yeah, we would have met there. I had my accident in 2007, and I hadn't raced the race and decided not to race the race because it was too dangerous for the first 4 years that I was in seniors.
Yeah.
I'd go away and race motocross, and then decided, I'll give it a go. I was 20, thought I'd buy a house at the end of 2007, so I'd kind of planned out to hopefully by that point be able to do well enough in Finke and do well enough in local and state races to be able to get a bike given to me to race on. And the first day I went down the track, I got 30 Ks and hit a tree.
Fuck, so it was your first day?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
because I remember hearing about it, because I just didn't know whether I'd met you at that point yet or not, though. But I do remember hearing about your accident out there.
Yeah. So I was back pretty quick. I was kind of in rehab and out within about a month and a half.
Yeah.
And back, and then I was riding about 4 months after my accident on the same bike.
Really?
So I modified that. And so there was a lot of, 2007, 2008, there was a lot of kind of, magazine, articles.
Yeah,
pictures and stuff.
About it.
Yeah, and I was mainly interested in motocross. So I was racing motocross. I kind of went into state race motocross. I actually won a couple of state clubman motocross titles.
Yeah.
Strapped into my bike. But also I went back and then raced Finke in 2008. So I raced it.
So this wasn't your first time doing the race?
No, there's a bit of
is that like a bit of a...
It's a
spoiler alert kind of deal?
I think for us, we filmed this in 2017, but for me it was very, very important that we weren't specific on the year because we don't mention 2017 once because I feel like Finke's such a timeless thing. And every year these stories happen, and unfortunately Isaac, when he raced it back in 2008, it wasn't captured on film or wasn't captured properly, so it was us sort of trying to combine this sort of journey and having him race it again, having not ridden in, was it 8 years?
Yeah, it was still 7 years between rides.
Yeah.
I actually raced Finke 2008, 2009, blew my engine up in 2010, and then didn't ride after that.
So we knew it was possible, but I mean there was a lot of hesitations
it's no fucking joke. Just any time, even for an able-bodied person to just decide yep, I'm gonna fucking race Finke. There's a lot of obstacles that come with that just for somebody that is able to use their legs on a motorcycle.
Yeah, well, it's just look, after 7 years of being in Melbourne, I just never found anything that was the same as motocross as an outlet. And there's only and watching motocross is great. And me and Dylan watch it every weekend at stupid hours. Whenever the Supercross and motocross is on, and we're texting during it going, oh my God, Ryan Dungey's riding a Honda now, weird. But nothing kind of reaches the heights, and is it adrenaline? I guess, but there's probably lots of other things, and there is this kind of sense of freedom that comes from riding that I don't really think you get. Doing anything else.
And I think you described it well in the film by just saying it's just the ultimate escapism, because it really is. I'm sure you don't feel like a paraplegic when you're in that flow state of concentrating down the Finke track. I'm sure there's a part of you that forgets the situation that you're in even.
Yeah, 100%. You just and you work within the limitations that you've got. If you're racing a 250F against a 500 KTM, you're limited in a certain way.
Yeah.
And I'm limited in a certain way.
Yeah.
But you forget about those limitations when you're riding, and then you're just chasing the next person. And if you're on a slower bike, you're hitting the corners harder, and doing everything you can to go faster. And it gets a bit gnarly sometimes. I scare myself quite a bit. We had such a quick build of the bike and a quick lead up, and I was still in Melbourne working during the lead up, and my bike was in Alice, and I was only able to fly up on the weekends. And we bought it just after Easter in April, and I raced the first weekend of June.
Yeah.
So it was just from a brand new bike. We just had to, figure out what we needed to do. And because I'd done it before, we knew what we needed to do, but I also knew everything that could go wrong. And just, once you're welding stuff together, it's kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
And unless you've put big time to, it's not a matter of just a little setup change that changes it. Because my seat is where it's bolted to the bike, and I'm where I'm bolted, strapped to the bike.
Yeah.
So there's not a whole lot you can do. So I knew that would be, would be difficult to pull off. But in the end, it took a lot to get it going. And so we'd go out for a ride, and as you see in the film, something breaks, and I'd crashed. Basically, I got 50 meters the first ride, and I fell over. And
what was that happened?
Well, I have a to control the rear brake and the clutch. I have a product called a Clake, which is a clutch and a brake combined into one lever. It's got two master cylinders, and one goes to your rear brake and one goes to your clutch. Yeah. And when you pull it in, the first part pulls in your clutch, and then the
second part pulls in the brake.
Yeah, so you can kind of come to a stop, and your clutch is in, and you don't stall. Yeah. But if you don't get that overlap correct, then it'll stall the engine. And so it was that combined with the gear shift. The electronic gear shifter is just a solenoid that pulls a lever up, pulls a lever down using the standard lever. And if that's not centered, it might not push down far enough, and you'll hit a false neutral.
And so what are you pushing down?
I've just got a electric I've just got a
button. Oh, okay.
So it's all electric. It's you get a KDM, and they've got the battery, so it's pretty easy to just hook it into that. I've also got a ignition cutout on the upshift so that I can do flat changes.
His handlebars are a little bit like Toby's Dakar bike. Just covered in buttons and shit.
Yeah. I feel like at some point why are bikes gonna keep doing the foot thing anyway? Like, it just sort of doesn't make that much sense.
Well, Dylan rode my bike pre-running the year after, and he pulled the seat off and he pulled the bars off, and he told me it was just like riding a mountain bike. He had all
I took the bars off and literally rode his bike with the setup. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like riding a mountain bike.
I'd imagine.
But I think the future with electric and everything, you'll just find that it's a back brake on your left and a front brake on your right and a throttle, and that's that.
Well, I think the electric bikes are going to make it pretty dummy proof when it comes to that stuff. But I was when I was at Townley's place the other day, we were doing like a bit of technique stuff, and he's getting me to ride right on my tippy toes. Yeah. And then I'm like, well, where the fuck's the brake? And it's you're just doing this dance. Yeah. But I mean, it makes you ride better. But I'm just like, man, we just need to be fucking locked in. The feet stay where they stay, and then you just hold the thing on.
me and my brother just send like pictures from Instagram back and forth of being like, oh, how is he riding with his foot there? He's like through the whoops, his feet are just hanging off the back. It's like he's just on his like little toes.
Did you ever ride like that when you were actually racing?
No.
Nah, dude, no. I've like
this
never.
It's a new style.
I just wore out the middle of my boots constantly.
Yeah, no, dude, Townley, like, that's been the biggest thing, was when I went and did that riding with him. That's what he was like, you gotta ride on your toes, and as soon as I did, I was like, fuck, this is like a full game changer. Like, actually, it's ridiculous how different riding a bike feels.
What is it?
It helps you pinch your knees, because if you lift your ankles up, then your legs can twist.
Yeah, but you know what else though too is, like, you know how they're always saying like weight the outside peg. Yeah. And then it's like if it's in the middle of your foot and you're pushing down, all you're kind of doing is like pushing yourself away. Yep. There's no like it never really felt right. But if you do it on your toes, you've got like you're sort of pushing into the bike and you're using your calf muscle, so it's just like a different deal. But then that made me think, like, then I'm starting to like slide up and down to do my gear changes and shit. I'm just like, this is fucking stupid. Like, we just need everything here.
Exactly.
Well, in Finke, steg pegs were a massive
Yeah.
game changer in that, and they're just skateboard wheels on the side of your bike, which is, what are they? I actually never used
They
them.
were a massive advantage, but now everyone has them, so it's not actually an advantage
Yeah,
anymore.
it's just like standard equipment now, eh?
But I mean, it's strange how much safer you feel with them.
Oh,
as
fuck
as
yeah.
a rider in Finke, like, and it's funny, like the fellow who made steg pegs originally had the one rubber, and then people in Alice started customizing them and making them bigger.
Yeah.
But then they started snapping the steg pegs, so they started welding two together, and then so they asked him, "Can you make beefier versions with these things?" He's like, "No, you don't need that. You don't need that." And eventually, he sort of come through. Now there's like the desert peg, which is a thicker version with the extra rubber, and now that just goes right behind your calf, behind your boot, and locks you in. I mean, it's probably useless for pretty much everything else.
Yeah, well, we did the Cape York ride recently, and I didn't have any steg pegs on my bike, and like my brother's he had his steg pegs on his, so he's just cruising along like 130, and he's like taking his hands off, and he's like standing up, just fucking wedged, and just like, dude, those things are gnarly.
Yeah, they run those in the loaf seats, and they could just.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh? Man, the film actually made me want to do Finke.
Well, that's good.
Like, I'm sure that's like I feel like any moto film deal, like that's the vibe. Is like, all right, this thing just has to make people want to ride.
Yeah.
And you guys definitely, you made it. I think you guys did a really honest job of like the reality. Like, this race is no fucking joke. Like, you don't just come here and just like kill it. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. I think you did a lot of justice for the guys, the top end and the bottom end, which I think is that's like a credit to the overall vision of like what you guys were trying to do.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Well, it's balancing that. It's balancing that love of riding and that kind of unexplainable love of the race with the reality and the dangers and everything else that goes with it. And we know, as bike riders, we know those dangers. But to see it.
I think it's interesting how you always think about the dangers when you're not riding, but when you ride, you don't think about it at all. Like, I never have a fear when I'm actually on the bike. I mean, you have close moments, but you just forget about it.
Yeah, that's the only time you think about it is when you're about to.
But if I
crash.
watch anyone else ride, like we went to the Supercross the other week, and like I'm watching everyone doing those rhythms, and I'm freaking out. Thinking this, you're going to hurt yourself. Don't do that. But then I know that being out there is probably not like that.
They're just not thinking about it at all.
And I think Finke's exactly the same. Like you drive out riding, or you go to sleep thinking about the reality, and then you get on there and just get into fifth and hold it on down the track, and you just forget about everything. And I think more so than motocross, I mean, Isaac might disagree, but like there's this feeling you get in the desert, which is just, for me, this outer body sort of thing. Like, time slows down, and I do a little bit of surfing, and I think I'd parallel more to that. Like the feeling of riding a wave. It's sort of the same riding the red sand. At that. Because at those speeds of 150 going through
you're
warps,
floating.
You're floating.
Yeah,
like your wheels are off the ground more than they're on the ground.
Yeah,
and it's an amazing feeling, and something that was really important for me to try and capture in this film in some way. So thank you.
Yeah,
I definitely don't think you get that kind of sort of out of body existential experience on a motocross track, because motocross is.
You get a different thing.
Yeah, it's sort of clinical perfection.
Yeah.
And it's just because you're going to come around to that corner in 2 minutes time, and you're going to do it better.
Yeah.
And you're going to do it better, and you're going to do it better, and you're just constantly,
That's what I used to be addicted to. I would just be addicted to the perfectionism of it, and that's like, even now in jiu-jitsu, like that's what I do with jiu-jitsu. I'm just so addicted to the feeling of like trying to improve, and because it's so measurable. And I think that's with motocross, you've got a stopwatch. It's just super measurable. But you are right. There is like this different adventure kind of feeling that comes from being in the desert. And you guys did a really great job with the visuals of Alice Springs and the desert. And I think combined with Eric Banner's voice, which I think was fucking amazing. Like, that's such a great guy to voice a story like that, and because he loves motorcycles. Like, and I don't know how many people even know how much he loves motorcycles, but to hear his voice combined with the visuals, like it really is a spectacular place. And for people that haven't been out there, like the beauty of that place is not lost on me anytime I go there.
Yeah, and look, that's home for me. So I mean, I had to do it justice. You know, as locals, we kind of have this ongoing joke that it's God's country, and well, it's not a joke, but you know, we're not religious in any way, but it's this all-powerful sort of force. I don't know. We always talk about the desert deciding who wins and all these sort of metaphorical
like
things.
mystical sort of shit,
but it's true. I mean, you know, we're all very superstitious, you know, and we all have our little ticks that make us think that we're going to have a safe day or a good day. And I tried to capture that in all the aerials of the desert and just the stillness of it, I think, as well, because I think as much as it's an action-packed sort of adventure film, you kind of got to slow down a few times
and take it in.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as well too that with Alice Springs, like it cannot go unaccounted for the fact that the Aboriginal culture has there, because it's the fucking same as it always has been. So much of it is just this untouched landscape that, you know, is the way that it was for, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, look, I'm Indigenous through my dad and my grandmother, and you know, being from Alice Springs, and you know, this track runs through, you know, traditional homelands of people. There's communities all the way along it, but then now there's stations on where the track was, and so on and so forth. But you know, they love the race as well as much as anyone else.
Yeah.
Like they, you know, for you know, Toby Price, as much as if a superstar over here, he's a superstar in the desert for all of their mob, and the locals as well. You know, the local riders are superstars. They all want to get photos with them, and you know, and there's been a few kids over the years who have come up and raced it as well. You know, mob from communities, and
when Finke,
it's a really inclusive time of the year for Alice Springs. You know?
When Finke the race rolls into the community in Tapachula, it's just, they love it, right?
Yeah, well, they got their footy game, their footy carnival they put on every year as well.
Absolutely.
And in the pits, they're marveling at the bikes and the broken cars and all sorts.
So how did the like logistically to get a film made about dirt bikes that is played on an IMAX theatre is something that hasn't really been done in this way before in Australia, to my understanding. So what was the process of this film being made and actually getting it to the point where we're watching it on the cinemas all over Australia? Yeah,
look, I grew up when I was a kid and saw Dust to Glory, which is Dana Brown's film on the Baja.
Yeah.
And then obviously was aware of like his father's film On Any Sunday. And, Endless Summer.
Yeah.
You know, those classics. And I'm like, well, these American guys are making these big kind of action adventure films. Surely we could do that here. But I know that in financing something in America, there's a lot more private money. There's a lot more studio money. And that's something that doesn't exist in Australia. Unless you can get their money and bring it here. So traditionally in Australia, for a film like this, if you don't have someone like Red Bull attached or like a massive sort of company, you get money for docos through the federal government, through Screen Australia, who is a federal screen funding agency, and then you also get state money from where you film or where you edit and whatnot. So it was a puzzle. You know, we had this idea for years and no one was interested, because I was just trying to tell them we're going to make this film about this motorbike race, but it's not going to be for motorbike people. Like, they'll enjoy it, but it's going to be bigger than that. And it took a long time to convince the different parties that this is something to invest in. And
because you could tell in the audience that it wasn't moto people, because the people that, like, the way that there was like the oohs and ahs were coming at these times where to like a motocross person you're like, not that big a deal. So but you could actually, there is a gauge that the people that went to that screening last night, not all of them are these hardcore moto nuts.
We, you know, the most rewarding thing on this tour so far, or any of the screenings we've done, is when like someone's wife or nana who got brought along comes up to me and says, I didn't expect to like that, but I really liked it. You know, and for me, that's what we want. We won, you know, basically. If we're convincing them, or, you know, if they're being entertained by this movie, that's the ultimate achievement for us.
And through development, we had to convince non-moto people. We had to convince people in the arts funding world that this is a film for everybody. And I think we got there. And that was, we'd probably spent about 3 years putting the funding together.
Yeah. So how did that process work then?
Yeah. So we start by approaching Screen Australia, who's our major investment partner. What we get from them is a grant from the government. It is to tell Australian stories. That's what they are investing in. But to do that, we need to get a distributor on board, and our distributor makes a plan for a theatrical release. So if we want this thing to be an hour and a half long, we need a distributor. If it's going to be an hour or something, then we might need a broadcaster like ABC or SBS. So we want it to be feature. We want it to be in cinemas. So Madman Entertainment come on board. So we have to then convince them that we're making this film that's going to make money. It's going to be, epic, but it's also going to be a character-driven story. And so we had got them on board, and once that was done, all we knew is we needed to get the state funding. So we get Northern Territory government to give us some money through the film agency there. And a bit of tourism money, because Finke is such a big attraction for the Northern Territory. And then we do a lot of the post work in Victoria, so we spend a lot of money there, so they give us a little top up as well, and that's sort of how you bring the budget together.
Well, initially it started with actually very, very small amount from the Northern Territory film funding to basically produce a trailer or a sizzle reel.
Yeah, okay.
So we actually filmed in 2015 just to create a 2-3 minute trailer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And so then you can take that and go, this is what it looks like, and these are the amazing stories, and these are the amazing characters.
Yeah.
And they change, as documentary, things change as they change. But, we knew we had the characters, and we knew we had the race, and we knew we had the incredible visuals that we could capture that the people in the arts funding world hadn't seen before.
Yeah, and how was it received in that world?
Really well. Yeah, I mean, when we do screenings and Q&As for a film audience, it's quite different to a motorbike audience.
Yeah.
The motorbike audience want to know how Isaac got his bike going, and they want to know about Scruff Hamill, and if he's raced it again and whatnot. But with the film audience, it's a lot more about how did you film it? How many cameras did you have? What how much did it cost, but what were the challenges in that way? Because they can see, for someone who makes films, they can see logistically how difficult this is. And
there was stuff that I actually wondered. I can't remember off the top of my head examples, but I just remember thinking like, fuck, they were on it to get that. Like really, like moments that were captured that could have very, very easily been missed in the logistical kind of nightmare of all of it. I think when you got was it Ivan Long passing
Luke Hayes,
like that pass, and the way that you guys documented the mechanical and just where you guys were at when you got Leesky finding out that that had an issue with the bike. Like there was a lot of stuff that was captured that could have so easily gone missed, and people, I don't think people understand that just the waiting and the time that goes into just standing there.
Yeah, I think the most difficult thing that we'll face with is that this is a 230 kilometre track
it's a nightmare.
That has no phone reception and is in a straight line. It's not a circle, so you can't just skip over to there or to there, or
the bikes are going so fast. Like there's no, like it's even hard in a helicopter to outrun the dudes. So you can't even leapfrog them.
Exactly. And so like we were faced with, okay, how do we capture all these stories? And I shot in the lead up with a small crew for about 3 months, just following backstories, following storylines. But then come race day, we had 3 helicopters, 30 cameramen and women on the ground, however many GoPros that we lost a lot of GoPros. A lot of GoPros fell off cars and bikes.
Dude, I remember you guys on the GoPro hustle. I think I had to tell one of your crew, I was like, nah, that's my GoPro, dude.
Yeah. Oh, it was just chaos, man. But it was the only way to do it. We had the lead helicopter that was following kind of the top 3 in that storyline.
Yeah.
And we had the other one going backwards through the pack to make sure they capture a few of our characters and just anything they can.
Yeah.
And then we had one start last with Isaac and then go charge up through the pack to catch back up. And I think just a lot of things we were just very lucky a lot of the time.
You kind of have to. You either get lucky or you don't.
I mean, me knowing the race so well, I knew that we'll put a cameraman at the second fuel stop because that's usually the more defining one.
Yeah.
And if he's there just with Yamaha, but also to film KTM, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so something did happen. And then I'm also going to get a cameraman to go to the first fuel stop. But when he's not at the first fuel stop, he's going to go and hang out with a really rowdy bunch of campers who I know who are all locals.
Yeah.
And I know that something's going to happen there that's going to be good.
Yeah.
And so we kind of strategize, okay, how can we use one person to be in one place to capture multiple things?
Yeah.
And then
put a camera with the paramedic.
Yeah, we'll put one with the paramedics,
them.
but not just with one team sitting in the desert. We'll put one with the paramedic that actually sweeps from the back to the front and is going to come across stuff all the time. So and I think we learned a lot from 2015 just shooting this sort of trailer about what works, what doesn't work, where to be. And so we just sent everyone out and we had 350 hours of footage at the end of the weekend, and that's like in documentary terms, it's a lot, but there's been more. You know? But that's something we had to watch every single minute of that to make sure that we don't miss anything. Yeah, and that took 6 months, and I think every day I'll go in and find something new and get really excited. Yeah, but like the when everyone came back out of the desert, they dirty, they haven't showered in 3 days, and they're just smiling from ear to ear, saying, "You will not believe what I captured." Yeah, and they couldn't even explain what it was. Like I just had to go through and watch it. Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of things just fell into our lap.
Yeah. Did you do much of the editing stuff as well? Like, were you involved in that process?
No, I was involved a lot in the pre-production.
Yeah, because you're a producer of the film, correct?
I kind of made Isaac stay out of it.
Well, come the 2 weeks before the race, I had to just focus on racing. Yeah. And then, there's in film, you really want to leave the director and the editor to have a chance to put the story together. Yeah. And so we would get, come maybe month 3, we started getting full edits together, and then it evolved hugely. There was, the first cut was probably 2.5 hours long. Yeah. And then it was a matter of refining, but then Stokey's accident happened, and that changes the story and changes how you handle things. So even during post-production, the story was, we were still getting extra material, and the story evolved from there.
Yeah, and I think like Isaac for me wasn't the main character. I didn't know who the main character was for a long time, and it was a kind of epiphany via a couple other people that Isaac's not the main character. There's lots of protagonists in this, but that his story tied together a lot of what I wanted to discuss in the film, and his journey. It was a great way to top and tail the film, and so slowly Isaac kept getting more and more scenes in the film, and whereas he wanted less, and it's sort of.
He could also ring me and say, "Hey, just say this one thing." Yeah. And I'd record it and send him a file, and then he'd fly down and film a cat for a while, and he had pretty good access to me. Yeah. Which makes a lot of difference when you are sort of trying to just bridge these things together.
Yeah, and I was great with David Walsh, who's now a Finke winner actually, but he's a main character in the film, and I had great access with him, and he was really cool about it the whole time. So he was coming through as sort of seemingly the main character for a long time, and because he's the lead writer. Yeah. But yeah, it just ebbed and flowed and changes. And I think if you ask anyone what's the story about, who's it about, someone might say it's about Scruff Hamill who's just out to finish, or they might say it's about Isaac, or they might go it's about the battle between KTM and Yamaha. Like, I think there's a lot of angles that people
I feel like for me it was just about the race and all the things that comes with it, because it's the kind of race that means very different things to very different people. And I think that's pretty much the beauty of it. And I feel like for me, that's what got captured, is that this is a race that people do for all types of reasons. They do it for a job. They do it for, fuck you, I can do this race. They do it because it's a great time with their mates. They do it because it's a rite of passage. I think that, I think the main character would be the track. Absolutely. Really.
There's a big kind of like father-son, father-daughter kind of element in the race that isn't, purely captured in the film, but there's a lot of people that ride it with their dad or ride it because their dad used to race it and their dad's now their mechanic, and there's a lot of like intergenerational, like it's not
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how it's not a team sport, but it's such a family sport.
Yeah,
because it just requires so much outside help from everyone, you know, and that's motocross in general. But you know, for Finke, when we're pre-running, you know, you might ride to Finke and back in the day, that's 500 kilometers, and someone needs to fuel you up and drive next to you all day to do that.
Yeah.
And for the locals who are wanting to be competitive, they do that every single weekend, you know, and so they're either their partner or their dad or their mum or whoever needs to support them every weekend doing that.
I just asked mates and you know who are having parties to fuel up for me. The first year I raced it, I turned up at the second fuel stop, and there was about 4 nuns. And then like a couple of clowns, and they had these big fake dicks, and they're filling me up, going, "You gonna be all right?"
Yeah, that's what my brother. He had one of the years that he did it. He pulled up and got fueled up by like the bananas in pajamas.
Yeah,
because like he just fucked up his fuel stop, and then he realized he was at the wrong one, and then because he was doing, I think he was in 20th or something. He was like, "Just fucking fill me up." So then they've just like filled him up, and he's taken off. But yeah,
I had the right people, and I got them back the next year.
Oh, really? Oh, so they were your
they were
people.
they were just partying and filling up people and cleaning my goggles. They had they would somehow they had huge nights, and you know there's no showers or anything out there, covered in dirt. But come refueling time, they're on it. They're actually surprisingly on it. They've got your goggles, you know, your spare set of goggles in a little plastic bag, and they fill you up quick, and you're off, and then they're back to the esky.
It's funny for a lot of kids.
Debauchery.
For a lot of kids in Alice Springs, like who don't race motorbikes, Finke is still this sort of rite of passage for them. Like a lot of people who might have their first drink will be at Finke.
Yeah,
it's sort of just the party scene.
Yeah.
Like, you know, at the end of the day, or for the whole three days, is sort of for some people that's what they live for all year, because Finke is going to be the biggest party of the year, and that's where you see bananas in the pajamas and the nuns and the cowboys and everything else that goes with it.
We have friends who call themselves Live for This, and they have a theme every year.
Yeah,
you know, they might have a Mexican
they'll
theme
have the beard camp, so they'll spend 6 months growing a beard, so they all have a beard at their camp. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. It's cool that a race like that can inspire that kind of like energy in people and that kind of like community, right?
And I think it's amazing that it can inspire that energy in the town, but also like 500 of the 650 riders come from interstate, and it sells out in 2 hours. It's amazing. It's like
it's a pilgrimage. It really is what it is. Like it's like the Mecca for motorsports. And you know, like Craig Lowndes, like one of the years I was out there, Craig Lowndes fucking rode across the Simpson Desert to get there. You know, there's like, I think Daryl Beattie does those tours where they like literally cross the Simpson Desert, and then they end at Finke, and then they spend the week at Finke. So it's like there's so much that happens around that event.
Tony Lockett goes back, and he races it almost every year.
Really?
Yeah, he goes. I had a bit of a competition with him for a while because we were about the same speed.
Yeah, right.
08, 09, I called him out in the newspaper, and he beat me by 2 minutes. And
wow.
He I remember I finished, and I'm cruising through the pits, and he gets out of the Honda truck because he's not a real fast rider, but you know he's famous. So
he gets a pass.
And he's like, "I beat you, man!" And he is so tall.
He's the greatest AFL player of all time.
Yeah. And he's like, "I beat you," and he actually raced the year of the film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I didn't know until I looked through the results, and he was about 20 minutes ahead both days, and I was disappointed. I wanted to redo.
It's funny, there's just these battles between people
all
the way through the 700 riders. Like, it doesn't matter. There's always a mate you got to beat, or just your own little goal. Yeah. Whether that's to crack the top 100 or whether that's to beat every quad on the track. You know, I don't know. There's everyone's got their own little goal.
Yeah, their own version of like their prize. Yeah. Well, that's like my brother and one of my best mates, Sawley. They do it together. And I think the years that they've done it, they've finished like 23rd, 24th, 22nd, 20th.
They need that top 20.
Yeah, they're just like right there. And but they're so close. And like Sawley pulls away from my brother on like the super fast stuff, and then my brother just through the whoops just starts catching him, and then it's just this constant.
Yeah. Are you gonna race it? Are you gonna race it?
I kind of like. I'm half thinking about it.
You should, man.
Yeah, I'm half thinking about doing it at some point.
Just don't try it and win it. Don't.
Nah, I mean,
but like, don't. Dylan just
I'm not a good example of
but
how
Dylan,
to race Finke.
he gets so keen, and
So you just try too hard.
I think that top 20 is like the problem is that I know that.
What's your best result?
25th, I think.
Yeah, so you're right there.
That was when I was 17 though, and I've never
done good enough afterwards.
Well, I just keep crashing out.
Yeah.
One year I was doing all right, and then my motor broke. And I think the problem is being a local, riding with quick guys, and knowing that I'm as quick as them. And I might one year put in the effort. I know I'm as fit at them as them, and then something happens. And when I have like these guys saying, "Man, you'll get inside the top 20 easy." Like I reckon you're about 15th, 14th, and it's like, oh yeah. So you get that in your head. And you just put this pressure on yourself to do it. And I haven't done it. So.
We filmed in 2015, and he raced in 2015. And the funniest bit was he was real fast. He's real fast at Finke.
Just at Finke.
Finke.
I can't ride ruts or jumps or anything else.
He can do Finke and flat track at the moment. But he crashed in prologue. And we're watching the times, and we're going, the guy after him's coming. The guy after that's coming. Oh, where's Dylan? And he rides through the middle of the thing, and the commentator goes, "Oh, Dylan, Crimea River has crashed out."
Oh, no.
It was terrible.
And so did you get to actually start the race? Or
I've started the race very last 2 years in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's that like?
It's actually...
Be scary as fuck with all that
the
dust
first
and
year it
slow
was
dudes.
fucked because I was so angry at myself that I just rode really aggressively all the way. And I think I passed 500 riders on the track. And I was inside the top 100 in position. I'm probably, I don't know, like 20th or 30th in time. And then I seized my bike 5Ks from the finish line.
Yeah.
And so...
What bikes are you on when you're doing this?
That was on a CR500, actually. I raced 2 years on a CR500.
All that.
He's got a service Honda.
Oh, okay.
So it's killer.
So it was sort of like trying to just do it differently to everyone else.
Track shot, cone valves, all sorts.
It was a competitive bike, but it just didn't... Anyway, so that happened, and then the next year I crashed in prologue, started last again, but I just went, you know what, I'll just ride there and back and just enjoy it this year. And I did. I finished and about 30th, I think, and it is what it is. But I think it was after these events that this film really started to evolve.
Yeah,
so I just went, what am I doing? Like, I know I want to have an effect on this race because of how special it is to me and how I've grown up with it, and maybe if I make a film about it, that would be my
legacy.
Impact. Yeah. So I think that's where it all came from.
Yeah. I would like to do it. I said I'd never do it, but I'd never really done a lot of desert riding. And then this year when we did the trip up to Cape York, it's the same sort of shit, and I had the most fun ever. And then after a few days, I just got used to being wide open, top gear, and like everything slowed down, and I felt real comfy. And it was scary though at the same time. Like that's a scary feeling when you look down and you're doing 130, 140, and you don't really care. You're like, "Weesh, this is entering that fucking
scary
zone. This is entering the weird place where like shit can happen fucking quick."
It's amazing how you get your eye in at that speed though.
It's crazy, man. It blew my mind, eh? Like, I just thought I'd never be that guy.
It's really tricky for some of the guys who race the off-road championships here, because they go from riding through trees one weekend, and then 3 weeks later they're meant to be racing Finke.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks after that they're back into riding trees, and it's like it's hard to get your eye in for both.
Well, I only rode motocross, and then when that first day when I went down the track, it was once you...
So you had your injury like the first 30 Ks of riding.
Yeah, so I got like 35 Ks.
So were you just pushing too hard too soon, you reckon?
Well, it was the first day I was going to do a pre-run.
Yeah.
I'd come back, like I'd gone out to 30 Ks and rode back along the track, but I'd stop at 20 Ks as a sand dune, you do some jumps and whips and stuff. But this was the first day that I'm all right, I'm going to go
do the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm going to go out. And I'd actually been riding with Wonka a bit in the lead up, because the Deep Well race is at the start of the year, and I kind of rode KTM, so I rode, and we would, I was pretty close to him around, smaller desert tracks, but I'd never done the race. I actually saw him, he was at one of the screenings, and I asked him about the year he won. And he said he never did.
Really?
He never won.
Yeah, right.
He kept breaking down.
Brad Williscroft. Yeah. There's a few people like that who just, he raced I don't know how many Finks he would have rode, but it would have been close to 20.
Yeah.
And didn't win once. One year he was leading by 15 minutes and blew up 5Ks from the finish line.
And Griffo's a legend as well. Darren Griffiths, he raced with, and he was as quick or quicker than Randall in the 90s, and just kept braking, crashing, all sorts. And then he comes back and he's on this black no sponsor KTM in 2003 and wins it.
Really?
And that was his 20th or 17th or something Fink.
Yeah.
It's just mad.
Which it goes to show how fucking good Toby is, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. First time.
It's ridiculous how good that dude is on a bike.
It is.
It pains me to say it.
Yeah.
But he is just that good.
And I think, he might have his own version of this, but I do think that Fink, as his training ground for what he's gone on to do.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You can't say that it didn't have an impact on his Dakar riding, because
No.
he just knows how to hold it wide and just get his eye in it and then just cruise all day.
Yeah.
The Red Bull Dakar guys come over and they jump in the helicopters and follow him and go, no one else is riding like this in these conditions in the Dakar or anywhere. And that's why that's how he can be so good. So good at that.
But that's where a local like David Walsh, for me, is so amazing. I mean, he is especially good at Fink, compared to other races. Like, David couldn't go and do a motocross and be too competitive. But, for someone like him who's still
specialist,
just a builder by trade, and this is his hobby.
Yeah.
And he is very, very close to the pace of Toby, you know.
And we've Fink has had some amazing riders during the week. They're tradies, and I would beat them on a 125 around the motocross track. But at Fink, no one can touch them.
Yeah.
At all. It's crazy.
It's such a specialized. It's like this crazy perfect storm where it's 230 Ks. It's just over an hour, or just under 2 hours. And if you're a fucking nutcase, you can sprint it, proper sprint it. But with that, you're on the edge, all the way on the edge. And I just don't think you get the Baja 1000 and it's over such a long distance.
It makes you slow down.
You're doing you're sprinting essentially, but it's not the same intensity of. It's almost like 800 meters. It's the good dudes, they can sprint it, but they're on the fucking red line. Whereas in a marathon, you just can't sprint a whole marathon. So it's
that's why it's an awkward.
It's
length.
this awkward distance, and it's you're either gonna go balls to the wall and you're gonna sprint it, and you're either gonna fucking kill it or you're gonna not, or you've got to back it down, and then you're out of contention. It's such a zone that you have to operate in to win that race is on the absolute ragged edge.
And that's where it's different to everything else, because you got the GNCCs in America and stuff, and they're around 4 hours, I think, 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And so that's still that length where you do need to reserve something.
Yeah.
You need to,
and it's very stop start, slow
corners. And it just nothing. I think something that people don't think about with this race is, because it's not a circuit, it's you're not doing lap after lap and judging how you're going to do a corner better, and everything you're approaching for 2 hours is new.
Yeah.
You practice, but you know that on race day, when you're going up to a dune and there's whoops on the other side, but
and 150
at 150, and you have to launch it and hope that there isn't a new square edge that wasn't there before that you're going to land in,
or a down rider,
or just something that's you didn't foresee, and that's where there's just this, I guess you just got to have big balls, you literally just need to switch off and go, I know that it is what it is, but for me to win this, I need to just hold it on.
And you don't get a chance to, I'll get it better next lap.
No.
There's no next lap, there's go now. But also, I think that the two field stops are interesting as well. You've got to go as hard as you can, and then you've got to stop for 30 seconds. And then you've got to go as hard as you can, and then stop for 30 seconds.
And you've got to try and eliminate that weird time in the middle where you're getting back up into that state.
To that race zone.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because you do enter a flow state mentally when you are in that zone of, we had there was one part on the Cape trip where I basically put my bike in fifth gear and held it flat until it ran out of fuel. And then I was like, fuck, how long did that, like, I don't remember any of that. I was going and then I wasn't, but I'd done a whole tank of fuel, top gear, wide open. And it's like, but then so you're in that flow state and you're in that, like, in the zone, and then you have to stop, do a fuel stop, and then go again. And it's like, how long does it take you to even adjust back to that pace and like get into that same mindset?
Well, I remember snippets of the race more like a dream than something I sort of like literally remember. It's just like, I remember that, you know, bit where I went too fast and then launched and I was passing some guy.
Yeah.
But it's sort of it's almost quite abstract. And I actually, in my head, I remember it like I'm outside of my body and I'm watching myself do it. I don't remember like helmet cam view. Like I remember, oh man, I was, you know, and you imagine, it's like if you remember doing a big whip, you on a jump, you remember, you know, you imagine the big whip from outside your body. That's how I looked, and then you look at a video and it wasn't quite that.
No, you are right though, eh?
I think it's all these adventures of this race, because you've all shared these adventures with other riders, and at the presentation or just from the years that follow, you know, it's sort of this kind of bank of stories that we're all collecting to tell our grandkids, you know, of these close calls we had, or when we ran out of fuel practicing and we had to, you know, push our bike for 20 k's to find a camp, and you know, like it's just so remote and such an adventure, you know, this place. And
at any point you could be having a chat to someone and they could trigger a memory that you'd forgotten completely about a time down the track. It just triggers from something.
Like I once went pre-running with a mate, and all we had was a van, and we don't really use vans in the desert. They're not very good on dirt roads. But we had a van and we went down, so we drove 250 k's out. He followed me. I loaded up the bike and we started driving back, and we got a flat tire, and so we quickly changed it. But then 5 k's later, we got another flat tire. We didn't have a spare, and it was just in the middle of the week. No one was out there. And so we had to just drive home on this flat for 10 hours. But that flat went, and then the other side went, and then the you know, it's front wheel drive, 2 flats. The tires just shred, come off. We're just on the rims, driving at like 10 kilometers an hour for 200 kilometers. Like those sort of things that you kind of forget about, but then years later you go, fuck, that happened.
Dude, we had, when I can't remember what year it was, but Toby broke down. We went out, we had to go get him, and we were in, one of my mate, Troy, had like this sick, I can't remember if it was like an F truck or a GMC or something like that. But anyway, we were fucking floating along. And like by this point, it's the what's the day you come back? Monday? Yeah, so it's like the Monday afternoon. I'm fucking over it. Like, it was a year that we spent a week of no sleep trying to get Toby's truck ready. And then the fucking thing lets go with like 40 k's to go. So then we drive down, we grab him, and we're just coming back. We're just delirious at this point, like laughing and carrying on, like just everything's like, all your fucking sensibility's gone and you're just losing it at everything. And then the whole fucking front end, the right front end, just caves in on this F truck. So like we've gone to recover Toby. So there's like his truck's on a flatbed. We've got Tobes, and then now we're waiting for a flatbed for the truck that we went out to recover. And it was just like, one of those.
You can't ride this.
And then it's like fucking a 5-hour deal just to get 40 k's, the same sort of thing. But like along the way, we're stopping at all of these fucking busted ass cars, and we're like just running amok, like trying to do anything that you can to keep your sanity, like based on the just complete fuckery of the situation.
Well, objectively, that sounds shit, but the way you're remembering it seems like it's the best fucking thing ever.
It was just the most like funny random thing, and like it's sort of this place where it just doesn't seem like what gets thrown. You're not surprised at what gets thrown at you, and then you just can't seem to get like crazy negative about it because you're like, fucking, we're welcome to Alice. Like it is. It's an adventure. It is what it is.
It's an adventure. You get caught in a traffic jam and you're kind of late to meet someone here in Gold Coast, and you're going to be
fuming.
You're going to be fuming. But you'd blow 2 tires in your van and drive for like 5 k's an hour for 200 k's, and it's now this amazing memory.
Yeah.
What's wrong with us?
Yeah, and I think I guess it's weird because it's like you just kind of don't have a choice at that point. You know, like, because there isn't, if you get 2 flat tires here, then it's like you call it RSEQ. You kind of just get like time to just be pissed off, and then your day kind of moves along. But I think it's like when you're that remote and you don't have any other option, like you quickly realize that anger and frustration, it just doesn't serve you. It's like irrelevant. You cannot be angry for that 10-hour fucking drive home. One
thing I have learnt being in the desert and driving in the desert is drive a Toyota, because other people drive Toyotas, and then you have other options for tires.
That's fucking classic.
So yeah, take that home, everyone.
The day before filming, so that I think the Friday or the Thursday, all the camera people were flying in, and Dylan took them down for a recce along the track to be like, go here, because he knows the track. You film this direction, that direction, and they're not turning up back. And there was a flat tire situation.
Yeah, we had our whole, like, a 50 crew team waiting to do the big meeting that is the meeting before the race.
Yeah.
And I'm stuck out in the desert with a fucking
Pajero.
Well, I don't want to talk shit about Pajeros, but a Pajero, there wasn't many other Pajeros, so we didn't have any options. So
there's nothing wrong with the car. It's just the stud pattern's not the same as a Hilux, and everybody kept driving past.
Yeah, it's just like, we can't help. And we actually had lent our spare to Shannon Wrench, one of the car drivers, because he got a flat. So we lent it to him. And then he lent us his tire, but then he got a flat, and then we had to give him. It was just fucked. Anyway, so I hitched a lift with just a random person saying, "Can you get me back to Alice Springs? I need to be in a meeting now." So I jumped in there, and he had his daughter in the front seat with him, and he had to put her in the back, and she wasn't even in the seat, and it was just like,
just a show.
Yeah, it's just a show. But I mean, it's made the story all the better.
How did you, like, what was your experience with film before this project? Like, did you have a sufficient lead up of experience in terms of like steps, or was this like really a fucking deep end project for you?
Oh, like this, every film's is a deep end project. No, I think, you being a filmmaker, you know, like how much time and effort goes into something.
This is on a fucking pretty massive scale.
It's just the stress level that you have of knowing the possibilities of what could go wrong, and how many decisions you need to make that streamlined as possible. And
just like in the race, you've got one shot, and 200 Ks, in one weekend, and there's no redos.
Yeah, look, but like in terms of experience, I've been doing this close to 10 years. I was 18 when I got my first sort of professional gig, and started making short films and short docos, and never anything about motorbikes. Me being Aboriginal and that my background, and living in Alice Springs, a lot of the stories I want to tell are around Alice and around different issues and themes there. And I've made some successful shorts, and I've made like a 1 hour for ABC before, when I was about 21. And then it was all just kind of building to something that could be bigger, but this was definitely a big leap. But I think I mentioned before, my parents are both filmmakers. My dad's a fella called Warwick Thornton, and he made a film called Samson and Delilah.
Oh, okay.
And then he made another film, which I helped him on a couple years ago, called Sweet Country.
Yeah.
So he's definitely helped me, along with my mum, in guidance in some ways. But I kind of more so just sit back and watch how they do it.
Yeah.
And how it all rolls. What to do, and also what not to do, what they do wrong.
Yeah.
So I think I've gained a lot of experience just by observing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Other people make films. So.
Yeah. And what's the reception been like on the business side of it? Like, is it something that is going to be financially profitable, and then is that like where does it sort of go from here?
Yeah. Well, as a filmmaker, making something of this scale, you're sort of judged firstly by the quality of the film.
Yeah.
And does it get any awards? Does it get critically acclaimed? But then you're judged by, does it make its money back?
Yeah.
And we don't have a whole lot of pressure to make the money back in terms of paying people back, like investment. A lot of what we've got is a grant, which is we are fortunate living in Australia to be able to have that.
Yeah.
But if we don't make the same amount of money in the box office and through DVD sales as was spent on it, it always looks as a failure.
Yeah.
So that's what we're faced with at the moment. And this is a commercial film. It should be viable and should make money. But for us to do that, we do need to be successful in Australia in our cinema release, and then with downloads and DVD sales.
Yeah.
But for us to actually make that money back, it needs to be done internationally. So at the moment, there's a strategy kind of being made for the States and for Europe. And
so it has to go international to be profitable.
Yeah, Australia won't. Unless, every average Australian goes and watches it, we won't make the money back in cinemas here.
Yeah, and so when is like the actual cinema release? Like, is it out now? How many cinemas is it
so
in?
look, this is all pre-screenings at the moment.
Yeah.
Right now we have next Tuesday, which is December the 17th, we have a big screening in Melbourne at an 800-seater, which is almost sold out.
Oh, perfect.
And that will sort of finish off the year for us now, these pre-screenings.
Yeah.
These count towards the box office eventually, but it's not officially released until January 23rd.
January 23rd, okay.
Yeah, so that's where we need people to go and watch it, and people to spread the word.
And how many cinemas is it in?
That's still in discussion. I mean, the success of this tour will determine, because Event Cinemas are the biggest chain in Australia, and they call the shots in terms of what films they put in their cinema and what they don't.
Yeah.
For example, Star Wars is about to come out of Christmas time. We don't want to compete with Star Wars, so we should delay our release until after Star Wars has been there for a while, because why would people come and watch Finke there and back? I mean, we'd like to think that they would watch ours over Star Wars, but I mean, I want to go and watch Star Wars. So it's that's all taken into account, and Event Cinemas needs to get on board and put it into all of their chains, as well as, I think if we can crack that, we'll be all right, because we know that a lot of the smaller boutique ones will do it. Yeah. They're happy to play films like this. They're happy to take a risk.
But there's not a lot of money being generated there.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a specific, like, we're targeting a specific market.
Yeah.
Which
we need to break out of that somehow.
Yeah, yeah. Although in saying that, we go to the cinemas, and I've been asking now at the screenings how many have been to the cinemas in the last month, and it seems like about a quarter.
That's the first time I've been in the movies in fucking probably a year.
Yeah.
And so there's a huge market there that isn't going to the cinemas now.
Yeah.
That would love to watch this, and and so there's a lot of getting. How do you tell them that? How do you get people to know that? How do you bring awareness? And that's what this tour is doing, and we're selling out almost every screening every night, and and obviously the reception is really good, and we hope that that'll then roll into January when it gets released for real, I guess.
And I really want the average punter to not kind of go, why would I go watch in the cinema, because I've got a home entertainment system, and when it comes out I can play it at home. Like they need to understand that this is made in surround sound. Like, this is Finke in surround sound, with choppers flying around the room and bikes going left to right, and
it was really noticeable.
Yeah,
like it was a cinematic experience. And I was fucking so busy yesterday, and I was like, I almost clipped it. I was like, fuck, I wanted to keep working. And then I was like, I know he's had like a link, and I was like, I'll just get him to send me the link. And then I was like, nah, I want to go watch it, because, and for people listening to this, it's like, how many times are you going to get the chance to go and see something like this on a big screen? And it's like, we've all got fucking gangster TVs, and we've all got home surround sound shit, but it's like, we don't, I feel like there's an element of every kind of punter that's like in the scene that's like always saying, fucking tennis, there's another fucking movie about tennis. But it's like, all right, well, here is a film about what we do, and if you ever want to see another one, then it's like, you have to support this kind of this kind of stuff.
If this does fail, I mean, it's not going to fail, but if it did in cinemas in Australia, you won't see cinemas in Australia putting another one up in a few years.
And you guys honestly did it justice. Like, I will definitely say that with confidence. Like, this wasn't what was that movie, that the dirt bike racer or Disney, like
Motocross,
this, Motocross or
Winners
whatever.
Take All.
Yeah, like this isn't.
We've watched them all.
I've watched them all.
This isn't some bullshit. Like, this is like a real story. It's really well done, and like, I think you guys did it justice. And I would like to see success of this purely based on like what it could potentially mean for our industry going forward.
Well, it's a movie about what we do. That you can take your girlfriend to, or if you're a girl that rides, you can take your boyfriend to or girlfriend to.
Yeah.
You know, you could take someone that doesn't ride and they will come away from it, you know, digging it.
Yeah.
And possibly understanding why we ride.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more.
And this is bigger than just Finke. People need to understand that. Like, you know, the mainstream news isn't really playing the results for Finke. They're barely showing Toby winning Dakar, like over other sporting achievements by Australians. And this film being in cinemas and the success of that is actually adding to the whole scene and us trying to be recognised for our sport.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what, man? Like, the whole like YouTube and all of this stuff and podcasts, like, it's really changing the landscape. And there's guys that are, you know, in their 40s and 30s that have never really rode, that weren't like, because I feel like motocross has always been this generational thing, and we've never really had that many people that like four-wheel driving. You can buy a friggin' Triton and then you can put wheels on it and you can get your mud, like, you know, your shit to, you know, get bogged and put a root, and you can become a four-wheel driver. Like, that's like a common thing. And then you get into that industry, and then you've got every ARB thing, you buy the magazine, and it's like, that's a pretty easy step, and that shit happens all the time. But I don't think we think about that with motocross or enduro riding as much. But nowadays it is changing. I really do think that we're getting that 30-year-old dude or the 40-year-old dude that never really rode that much and is like bought a bike, whether it's an adventure bike. I think that's something that's really opened up our industry, with like Yamaha's bringing out an adventure bike. Harley announced last night with their support of the film that they're bringing out an adventure bike. I think more people are starting to like funnel into this sport, and I really believe that films like this are such a good gateway to get people like off the couch and into a dirt bike.
And we've seen a few of them over the years, like Bruce Brown's On Any Sunday. The effect that had and the way that grew the industry was massive, you know, and you've kind of seen it go up and then back down and up and back down, and I hope we're at a point we're going to start really going up again.
And I think bikes had a stigma for a long time, and I kind of feel like that's kind of drifting away now. Like, it's always been cool to ride a bike, but now it's not cool because you're a bad boy. It's cool because it's just cool.
Well, I feel like Crusty Demons came through and all that kind of image and bikes.
Oh,
and
mate,
sort of like
you don't know the half.
But then
crazy.
But then things like Nitro Circus kind of bring it back into
a little bit.
Back into this is, you know, this is cool. This is entertainment. Where, you know, we're just a bunch of fellas having fun.
And then racing, they're working harder than footballers. Not to whatever, but they're I don't think, you know, anybody works harder than an elite motorcycle athlete.
Yeah. Well, I think there's definitely a part of, even myself, like, the things that I made for Red Bull was porn. It was moto porn. And it was, you know, $100,000 lenses, $100,000 cameras, choppers, and it was like the elite of the elite, and it was 3 minutes of just full, like, moto porn. And it's not, now that I look back at it, I'm like, I didn't really make films to try and get people into motocross. I just made films for people who already liked it. And I think that it's a bit of a trap, because, like, I know I wanted to be like the coolest dude making the coolest shit for the coolest people around. Like, it was so elitist. And I think that motocross and supercross is such an elitist version of the sport, and I think it's cannibalized itself in that sense. I think that's why we just didn't see much growth, because you're right, man. On Any Sunday would have got hundreds of thousands of people into the sport, and since
that
then
showed everything. That at
it
the
did,
same time,
and it showed it from a very innocent point of view of to help people understand the sport that didn't already.
Yeah. Well, it starts with, this is the average man. It looks like the average man, but he's actually a motorcycle rider, and then goes into it, you know. And, I think, like, even like the you know, flat track, which is sort of the origins of motorcycle racing, you know, on tracks, especially in the States. Like, Scruff Hamill, who's in the film, you know, he's a diehard flat tracker, and I've started getting into it, and I'm like, what is this sport? Like, why don't lots of people do this anymore? You know, this is where it all started. And I think, between motocross and supercross, all of those origins have really fallen by the wayside.
Yeah, and I would totally agree. And you can see now, like the whole. Speaking of elitist, Ben Townley, fucking wanker.
Right on the balls of your feet.
What's that? Yeah, I know. He just left the voice message right on your toes, bitch. And I think that stuff's really starting to come back. Like the whole flat track thing. Like I'm going to watch Jack race at the event on the weekend. Jack Miller, like he's.
Oh, true. We'll be there. Me and Scruff are racing it.
Oh, are you racing that one, Scruff? Fuck yeah, I'm gonna be out there for that one. Jack Miller's riding. So
cool.
Yeah,
I wonder whether like sort of social media has allowed these
100%.
niches to
Come
thrive.
Yeah.
Really big, and everybody feels that they have a community now. If you wanted to start flat track, I would. We had a flat track at motocross in Alice, but nobody really rode it. But you could go online now and hashtag flat track or hashtag long track, whatever, and find this community of people and get involved.
I think everything's just like leveled out. I think it just went like so fucking Jeremy McGrath, Ricky Carmichael, and then we lost those stars. And I'm massive fans of Eli Tomac and Ken Roxon and all of these top dudes, but they're not carrying the sport in the same way. I honestly think motocross and supercross peaked with Chad, Ricky, and James.
Well, they were sort of like they were on Letterman and late night TV. They were kind of starting to break into the mainstream, and then it's sort of all the guys up now.
Bubba's World.
They're superstars in their own right.
Yeah, but it's different.
But it's different. They're not like you were saying before. You were making cool films for cool people.
Yeah.
To jack off together.
Yeah. It's really what it was.
And those Eli, Ken Roxon and all that, they're not bringing new people to the sport, but the people that love the sport are like, they're incredible riders.
Yeah.
But what brings new people to the sport? Think there and back.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I definitely think that that's like sort of the tone and the theme. And there's a way, the start, like even the way that you explained the race, like it's hard when you know a lot about the sport to just go almost like reduce it down to a very, very simple message and a simple, like I think that's actually a challenge when you know a lot about the sport and how do you do it in a way that, like, there was only one thing, there was one, like, and it was the tiniest little thing where I was like, oh, that was kind of Hollywood.
Yeah. There's a couple of them, don't worry. There's a few very deliberate Hollywood moments.
There was one that I was like, fuck, I wish I remembered.
I reckon it would be in the VO. It would be something that Banner said. I mean, I like every film I make. I hated this film a year ago. I couldn't watch it. The
Finke one.
Yeah, but I haven't watched it in a year, so now I kind of like it again. It's just that love-hate relationship you have with your own work.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that's true.
It's shit, and then someone tells you it's really good, and you're like, oh, it's all right. And then, there was a moment where I was just like cringing at everything that I put in it because I was just over it. But now I've come full circle and I'm enjoying it again. But there's definitely there's so many things in it.
Is the Finke River the oldest river in the world?
It is. Yeah.
How do you know that? Where were you?
Wikipedia tells you.
Is Australia
no, it is.
the most feral camels in the
people
world?
say that the Nile's the oldest river in the world with water in it, but the Finke River's older than the Nile. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel like everything come from Africa though.
Well, I mean, we're one continent. I don't know. We can get into this discussion.
No, I just thought, there was one thing. It was kind of towards the end.
Welcome to planet Earth.
But yeah, it was like the only Hollywoody sort of moment.
And if it wasn't the bad and the ugly of the race, was it that?
Nah. It was something.
Was it like holding on to the edge of a cliff for 2 hours?
You know what it was?
That was a quote.
You know what it was?
What was it?
It was I was fine with all of it. It was when fucking Stokey crossed the finish line and you could see that he'd slowed down and the bike noise was still accelerating.
I hear that every time.
I was like, fuck. I was like,
don't worry, that's one of those moments that
that's some Hollywood bullshit right there.
Well, at
least it wasn't a two-stroke.
Also, if you keep an eye on it, I only spotted it in the last screening. There's actually a clip from Prologue right at the finish.
There is, because we needed one of Stokey crossing line.
But I give them a pass completely because I get it. Yeah. But then the fucking I knew that was like a sound dude that went in for the dramatic.
Like we
that was it. Glad I remembered it.
We have a massive sound mix for this, and
fuck, it would've been hectic.
Even though it was massive and we had a whole team of people doing it, we ended up doing the final mix of the film at like midnight in June.
And then we flew back on a Thursday before Finke, and we flew back to
we were
Finke
half asleep. Anyway, things like that, just simply just running out of time.
And no one's gonna I'm picking that up because I'm a fucking nerd.
But we had a massive problem that was like, we've shot all this footage from a chopper, which has a perspective of being anywhere from 50 meters away from the bike to 100 meters away from the bike, and so we need to create this sense of sound. But how do you capture? It is
very, very, very hard to do.
How do you capture the sound of a motorbike or a car from 100 meters away, traveling at 150 kilometers an hour without getting wind noise? Like, it was like, how are we going to do this? And so we had some specialty equipment and mics, and after we'd filmed the race, we taped them to bikes and just ripped up and down the track to try and just get a...
I've done the same shit.
We contacted Red Bull for the enhanced audio.
Oh, yeah.
From Straight Rhythm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They did that shit with that too, eh?
But there was a lot of sitting down with the sound designer and going, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, and that's sort of what I was getting at is like whenever there's a Hollywood sort of, or like a feature film style thing around motorbikes, like it's so fucking poorly done, and you can tell that it's like people that really don't know. And even when you watch like Skyfall, and it's like they've got a fucking, they've got probably like an old CTX 200 two-stroke as the sound for a fucking KTM 450.
Oh, it'll cut between a two-stroke and a four-stroke.
And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, it's really not that hard. Like, just get Matto in there, the dude that rode the fucking bike, and he'll tell you the sounds that you need to use.
Exactly.
But so that's what I was getting at. Is like there was none of that. There was literally one that I noticed in the film.
I'm glad there's only one. I mean, there's an old Finke movie from like the 80s, right? And it's got this great footage of someone cruising along the road section. They used to have this road section just flat for 20 kilometers, and that's where like the CR500 would reach 200 kilometers an hour. And they had these shots of this guy like floating, but the sound was like just an idling CR500 in a backyard with a dog barking next door. Like it's just because that's at that time that's all they could do to dub in audio. You know, but we've gone a long way.
For me, the most amazing sound in the film is really subtle, and you have to watch it in a cinema. But whenever they're riding and they pass trees,
we put a little
every tree, and to me it adds that kind of sense of speed and moving through nature so incredibly fast.
Yeah, there was a slow motion shot where you could see the front wheel hitting whoops, and there was like some real subtle effects whenever the front wheel would hit, and like
little tires hitting the ground, and the suspension going in and out, little spring noises.
I brought that up like at the last screening. I said I'd never heard that, I'd never listened for that, and I went, oh, that's amazing.
There's a lot of work into the sound of this, and that's why
you have to go to the cinema.
Like you will not get that on your laptop when you stream it off iTunes later on or whatever. It won't be there.
No,
I mean, it will still sound great, but it just won't be that experience.
Yeah, and it was worth it, man. Like, I've fucking seen everything when it comes to motocross, in terms of whether it's live at events, in stadiums, Straight Rhythm, fucking you name it. And this was worthwhile to see as a visual and auditory experience. Like, going to the cinema and seeing it was worthwhile for sure.
So what got you into filming back in the day?
Pretty much just sucked at motocross.
Yeah, fair enough.
Sounds like me.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where it's what I'd done, it's what I wanted to do. Originally, I wasn't even into filming. I've always been really good with words, so I was going to be a journalist. So I actually worked for Stroke magazine. So I did a bunch of interviews with riders at like the state titles, because it was like, I grew up with Jats, Todd Waters, Luke Weaver, Wilson Todd, Richie Evans, Mitch Evans, like Wade Hunter. You would have
seen me in Stroke. That's where I reckon that you would have come across me much.
Did you write the Northern Territory articles for Stroke?
No.
Who was that?
I don't know. I didn't know there was Northern Territory articles.
There was like every state did like a state report. Remember who did that?
I reckon they must have been Darwin Mob.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I was sure that I'd met you before your accident. But yeah, anyway, so I worked at Stroke for a while, and then I just fucking hated Uribe, to be honest. Like, I just could not get along with the dude, and I was super young as well. And then after that, because of how good Verb was doing, I was like, I'm just going to copy Verb. Like, no one's making like web edits. Guy Streeter was doing Loam, and Loam 2. Like, there was a couple of films being made, but no one was doing like just web edits every week. So then I ended up getting a credit card for $7,000. I bought a Sony EX1 and that tripod that's right there still. And then I just fucking lived out the back of my van. That's where the whole gypsy thing come from. Yeah. It's because everyone, like, they started calling me the gypsy because I just fucking spent 2 years living in a van. I'd stay at Luke George's house for 3 weeks, and then I'd go to the National with him, and then I'd stay at Troy Carroll's house, and then I'd stay at this person's house. I just constantly for 2 years was staying at different people and learning how to film. Like, I didn't know how to film. I just knew that I knew how the Verb stuff looked and how it should look. And then I just got Final Cut 7 and an EX1.
Did you get the big box?
What's
Final
that?
Cut 7 box?
No, I just had it on the computer.
Okay,
Yeah. So and then I just learnt how to edit, bought a laptop and figured it out. But but it was basically because I just wanted to stay in the industry. Like, I didn't want to get a job. I wanted to be in the industry, but I just knew I wasn't good enough to do it.
But yeah, well, like on that, you're not filming anymore, are you?
Not really.
But it's amazing how things progress. Like, it's happened countless times with, surf filmmakers or documentary makers who then go on and kind of surfing was their interest, and then they started documenting it, but then they started making music videos for people, and then suddenly they're making another doc about something different, and then they're making a feature, and they progressed into the different career through film.
Spike Jonze, perfect example.
Yeah, skating.
Yeah.
You've seen it with like Mouse McCoy and stuff with Dust to Glory, and they went off and did feature films.
Taylor Steele.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Rob Zombie.
Yeah, Rob Zombie.
Rob Zombie's incredible.
There's so many ways to get into this industry of making films, but it seems that one great way is through this sort of through your sport, through documenting that and just progressing. And
nowadays it's so crazy. Like, even the whole thing that's happening with like this channel and now, it's like there's literally no limits on the content that I can make. People we have a fucking awesome audience of really great people, and they're just like, yeah, whatever, just do whatever you want, just post it and I'll watch it. Yeah, it's a crazy time. And I think that's even one of the things that makes me really appreciate this film even more, is the fact that like we live in a time where this shit doesn't really get made. Like, the effort that goes into your film, the way, like the years and years of work that goes into it just doesn't happen a lot these days, especially in these kind of industries. Yeah, I think I live in this sort of romantic idea that I'm going to be able to finish off a career, not retire, but finish a career where I have my work and the copies of my work on a shelf, like a person who writes books. Like, there's my books, there's my films, there's my posters from my films, and it's sort of, I might only make 10 films in my life, but I want them to be something that's, I guess, I'm happy with, or special for me, and something I'm proud of, and that's what Finke has become for me. Well, we live in a world of the web edits and live streaming and live events. Not to take away from that at all. No, but they come and go. I mean, a live event, you're looking forward to the next one as soon as that one's over. Yeah. Whereas this film should be timeless. And that's why the great On Any Sunday and Endless Summer and Dust to Glory, they kind of live on. It doesn't really matter what year you watch it, and you can show someone in 10 years On Any Sunday and they'll still be like, dirt bikes are awesome. This is making me want to watch On Any Sunday again, actually. And it still holds up so well. Oh, it does, doesn't it? Same with Endless Summer. I don't know what year it was filmed in, but it just would have been it's the 70s. Yeah, early. But 70s. I'm sure that film it was filmed and wasn't released for 2 years because it just took so long to put together. Like, Dust to Glory wasn't released for like 3 years after it was filmed. Yeah. And you still don't know what year that race was actually captured, Yeah, well, that's the thing. A lot of people, I get a lot of people saying like, oh, I want to hear more of your story. And I'm actually going to just write a book about the first 100 episodes of the podcast, and then kind of like weave my story in there in terms of like how each person came to be and how they fit into the puzzle. Because it's like, I've thought about it, and it's like, if people really care enough to know, then you can fucking read a book about it, and it's there, and it's like that same thing of like it's on a shelf, it's not fragmented and posted all over social media, and it's like there for 24 hours on a story, some meaningful, fucking meaningful caption of like, oh, and then this is this how it's like. I don't really want to do that stuff, because there is this, I don't know, there, like, maybe romance is the way you describe it. There is a view of these kind of immortal mediums of either print or film, like they just don't go away.
Yeah.
But the internet shit does. And I even think about my career of film, like, fuck, I've got hard drives all over the world that, I've just got shit on it. It's like you just sort of don't have hard copies of things these days.
Just zeros and ones. Yeah.
And I've got to go onto YouTube to watch some of the edit, and they've got millions of views, but it's, I don't know, what does it fucking mean?
They're still trying to work out how to preserve all this. Like, what scares me even making these films is like we used to make film prints of your final film, a 35mm print. You'd have your master, and then you'd have hundreds of copies around the world. And then, they'd be stored, and at least it was a physical thing. And they're still working out, because hard drives stop working.
They fuck up.
They demagnetize, and we've got like DAT tape and things that we can kind of store things on for a bit longer, but it still doesn't.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Analog.
We do, however, in Australia have a National Film and Sound Archive where things like Finke go into and become the history of this country. Like, you can go in there and just search for things all the way back from the beginning of film production, and it costs money to get them out, but like it's a safe place. It's funded by the Australian government. It's a place for things to be stored.
And you can buy clips, and it, that helps pay for the preservation of Australian film.
Right.
Yeah.
Still, I mean,
because it's Australian culture. That's what we're adding to.
Yeah.
TV gets lost as well. TV's ephemeral.
Yeah.
Like the internet, and you still find TV shows from the 70s, and they actually end up on the internet.
Yeah,
that's where you can find anything now.
It is crazy. Like, I was watching the 2005 Motocross the Nations the other day. I was just like, because it's going to Earn A this year, and I was like, I'm going for sure. So I was like, fuck, I want to watch that, because Ben did really well at it as well. And
was he riding on the balls of his feet?
He was, yeah. Well, you watch anyone, bro. Like, anyone that's good, it's like, fuck, it's blowing my mind, How much data did you end up with overall for the film? What was the final number?
Look, we shot a lot. Like, it's all 4K, but we did deliberately choose a lot of cameras that were compressed 4K. So I think
you were using like the FS5s and
FS7s. A lot of FS7s were on the ground, because it was just the most affordable camera to get.
They're fucking good.
30 of them.
Yeah.
We had to go to 3 states to get enough of the cameras.
Did you guys have to buy it? Did you just buy the cameras, or you rented them?
All rented. I had one myself, which I was already shooting on. But I think we shot, was it 50 terabytes or 100 terabytes? It wasn't too bad. Like, it was a lot of hours, but there was a lot of compressed stuff in there. We only had 3 reds. Like, if we shot the whole thing on reds, it's just a waste of data for that type of thing.
Yeah.
I only use them for very select high speed stuff. I think in the choppers we had F55s, which do a great job with some Ongino zooms and all the technical stuff. But I think we were looking at a 50 to 100 terabytes all up.
Fuck. And how many editors were working on it?
There was one main editor, Marcus Darcy, and then Kelly Cameron was his assistant, but they were actually both simultaneously editing. And then I had my own edit as well. So for about 4 months, it was the 3 of us, and I would cut down interviews to a manageable size, like take a 2 hour
You were just doing selects of interviews.
Selects, give it to them, they can start weaving it through. I also did all the selects of the chopper stuff, because we had like, I think 15 hours of chopper
And you
footage.
need to know.
Yeah, so I just go in and go, look, this is...
Yeah, there's no goon shit in the film at all. Like, there's no weird moments where it's like everything was, you could tell, was carefully selected by somebody that understands the sport.
And not everything in the film's perfectly in order in terms of when it, like, not when it happened, but there might be a shot from somewhere that I slipped earlier because I really need a shot there.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I would do that knowing that the terrain was so close and the shot's so tight that no one who actually knows will ever even know. So even in that sense, I was taking care not to put a shot from the end at the start and the start at the end and do all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was very evident that I didn't understand, I didn't know your history of writing, but it was very evident that this film was done by somebody that understood the race and motorcycles very well.
Yeah.
Which I think is fucking very important when you're doing a film like this.
It is, and with everything, like I'm into surfing, but like I couldn't go really make a surfing film to the detail that someone who really understands a certain wave or a certain break or a certain story. You know, I'd have to make a surfing film about a character that was kind of not really about surfing at all.
Yeah.
Because I don't fully understand it, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's what does it mean and how does it feel, and you have to know that and feel that to show that.
Yeah.
And I guess reveal that.
I think I made a decision early on when making stuff that it was really important for me to make stuff that was close to my heart or kind of, I guess, from my home. And like, I don't really want to travel overseas to make a film about someone over there because there's someone already there to make that film.
Yeah.
Like this sort of sense of owning your own stories.
Yeah.
Telling your stories is really important to me. And I think that applies to all disciplines and all sports, and that there is someone who's coming up through that in a career in media and film within that own world, and they should have the opportunity to take that. I don't want to walk in and do it instead, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Isaac, with your race that you did, it was pretty fucking special to see you start passing people through the field. Like, what was your...
You mad dog.
Yeah. What was your... like, did you think that was that your plan was to, like, I'm going to have a real crack at this? Or were you purely just trying to survive so that, you know, you kind of close the storyline?
Well, initially it was just get there and back.
But they make you start last.
They made me start 5 minutes behind the last bike. I knew I'd be fine because in the lead up there was a lot of issues with my bike, and we finally got it going the Thursday before, and I got to ride from 40k back, and everything technically worked, but my suspension was like impossible to work with because it's sort of set up for a 65 kilo rider to ride in the in like single track, and I was probably 85 kilos plus all the extra equipment was probably another 15 kilos, and it was just it was bottoming and rebounding and nearly sent me over the bars.
And you ride in a very different way.
Yeah, so I'm seat bouncing every whoop as well, and so I came back the Thursday before the race and said, this is like, that was fun, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it all the way down there. So we rang around. We spent that day and the next day ringing around people to try and find someone that had suspension, Finke suspension for a big dude, because we knew it needed to be hard, and that would fit my bike.
Yeah.
And we ended up finding someone on the Friday and got that in Friday night. And while they're prologuing, I went out for 10 minutes to just, some like a quarry somewhere and rode. And that was the first time that with a muffler that my bike felt like a race bike.
Wow.
And I knew it'd be sweet. It sat up and it turned good. And I was like, yeah, this actually feels like a race bike. So I knew I would be fine at that point. But before that, it was like just going to be a really gentle, I've got to be careful I don't get destroyed. But once I got that suspension in and the exhaust on, which really just turned it into a race bike, it was, I knew I'd do all right. I knew I'd be able to pass some people. And there's always, it's a race. There's 650 people there and there's no prerequisite to go in the race.
Yeah.
Which, that's riding, and it's just, so many people are just out there to
experience
get there and experience it. And, I'm a bit competitive probably, maybe.
I think like the thing is because you're at the speed of a mid-pack Finke rider, but they start you last for safety. There's all these people who you're automatically.
You couldn't prologue, like they wouldn't let you do it as like a legitimate contestant.
Well, I reckon. I mean, this is being a bit cocky, but I reckon I'm kind of in the bits that I'm fast. I'm probably top 100 speed, and in the bits that I'm slow, I'm really slow.
Yeah.
So there's sections in the middle of the track where it's kind of just weaving around, or there's no whoops, but it's really choppy. And also the road sections, I'm like really, really fast. But then the whoops I'm really, really, really slow. And I just don't, I'd use
There's no way around it. Like,
no,
really.
And I use those as, they're a break. For everyone else, the whoops are like, oh no. For me, I'm like, well, I'm not going to try here because if I do, I'll probably crash.
Yeah. So
I'm just like looking for lines and riding the very edge of the track. If you see me in the film, I hug the edge, and cross lines a lot. Everyone, a lot of people just inevitably, and you would have seen it, they'd come into the inside of corners, drift out wide, and everybody just follows that same line. And outside crossing early. I was on grader tracks at times because nobody's taken that line, and I just I sort of I didn't
smart about it, eh?
Just be smart about it. I didn't ever see more than like riding. I didn't ever see more than 40 k's down the track. I went I think halfway with Dylan in a car once, so I was a little bit of a tourist as well.
Oh, so that was like the first time that you'd even really rode the full way down.
Yeah, and even the other races that I did, because it was my fourth Finke. Dylan's done 8. I done 4. I finished 3. Dylan's finished 3. Dylan doesn't talk about the 9th one that he did as well that he didn't finish because it was in a car.
We don't mention that.
We don't mention that. Yeah, no, and even those ones, once I started at 80k and rode back, but I just always had little teething problems with my bike that never got me all the way there and back. So I was a bit of a tourist, and but which meant I guess I was really conscious of what was coming up and looking as far ahead as possible and finding those lines. But also I guess like I knew how quick I could stop as well. So I could go fast, knowing that if I need to, I can come to a stop pretty quick. I'm not out of control at all. Yeah. It's interesting because I don't get arm pump. I'm strapped to the bike, which in some ways there's not really an advantage, but let's pretend there is. But the advantage is that for everyone else, they're gripping the bike and they've got steg pegs, I guess, and trying to hold on, and they're going over here and they're going over here, and then their arms pump up because they're trying to hold themselves on the bike. I'm strapped to it, so I'm not sliding off. Yeah. And I've got this big brace that kind of holds me upright, so I'm not even flying back. And I'm also in this really triangulated kind of position. Yeah. And so I'm in a really strong position on the bike, using my back and my shoulders. And so I, don't
You can relax your arms, really.
I could relax my arms a little bit. And I was, because I had so little prep, I was learning to ride
as you were going.
As I was going, and I was half an hour quicker on the way back because I just, knew, basically it was working to the point where I knew I couldn't power and pick up speed through whoops, but I could come into them quick and just bounce and know my bike's going to stay straight. My steering dampener's cranked up as hard as it can go. Yeah. And know it would stay straight, and it was just really kind of stable. And I just sort of go, and I could, even then I could just like rest my hand knowing like I'm not braking too hard, and I could just let it flow, and then obviously then start rolling them and, cruising through. If I'd ever tried to...
Momentum is your friend.
Yeah, 100%.
It keeps you straight.
100%. And, even,
it's only when you back off, you get in trouble.
Well, I even would start to, use the whoops to turn in corners, and, there'd be a whoop around like that. I would sort of, and then use it to turn and use that momentum, I guess, to jump to the inside and ride like the off camber insides really smoothly. Whereas again, everybody else.
But I think, look, a lot of the guys out there are just they're riding smart. They're riding safe. Yeah. They've got a family and they want to be a part of this event and tick the box. And for them, they're racing their mate who's next to them, and Isaac comes through because he's still ultra competitive. That part of your brain of being a racer hasn't switched off for him at all. And 80% of the riders in this race are like over 35. Yeah. And then like 50% are over 45. We've got all these guys that are just, I don't know if they're going through a midlife crisis or what's going on.
It's just that bucket list thing. Because that's like me. I'll be, I'm 31 now, so it's like whenever I fucking get around to doing it, it's like I'm probably going to be mid-30s and just like out there, and fucking missus is going like, well, if I could stay safe, and you got 2 kids or whatever. So it's like, I get it.
Don't show her the film.
Yeah. Well, that's what well, at one point I came up behind a quad and he started racing me. And quads are really kind of hard to ride with again, like next to, because they kind of, it's called tram tracking, where they just kind of cruise across like this. And he started racing and looking and kept racing. And so I slowed down. I don't want a quad coming in next to me. And my sweep rider, Jamie, he pulls ahead, jumps in front of the quad, fishtails to dust him out, and slows right down, and then I could go past.
Yeah, right.
The quads should just give way to motorbikes.
Yeah.
Like
hashtag nuke the quads.
Hashtag nuke the quads. Yeah.
We love quads.
It must have been special doing it with your brother.
Yeah, he'd never done it either. Like in the lead up, he would actually come to the SA state motocross rounds that I would go to on Finke weekend, because we were, we grew up there, but where Dylan grew up with this race being this, kind of really special event. For us, it was like, I wanted to be a Supercross star. I wanted to be a motocross rider. I'd seen kind of Craig Carmichael come through, and a few other, Alice and AJ Roberts was from Darwin, and he came through racing motocross in Alice and Darwin, and Brett and Shane Metcalf came up one year for the state titles, and they were just incredibly fast. They came up in this Bedford van with their junior Honda team. There used to be an old junior Honda team. And they came up for the state titles, and they were just incredibly fast, and it was like, that's what I want to do. And again, because I would ride against the Finke riders around motocross at 15, and they weren't that great at motocross. They're incredible in the desert, and I had no hope of touching them. But I'm like, I want to be a motocross rider and be a Supercross star. And so my brother, he was more, I want to be a tradie and have a family. But it was amazing, to ride it with him, and he's so skilled. Like he'd never try, and he'd almost be as fast as me. And I'm out running and training and going to the gym, and he's just. It's that typical
brother thing where you see him racing. One of them just tries harder than the other, and the other one's just naturally.
That was me and my brother.
And so it was good to and it was actually a good kind of entry into the race to him, because he was he didn't have to try too hard. He crashes his brains out so much. I'm not.
Did he crash while you were in the race?
No, but if you look in the film, he struggles to start his bike at the first fuel stop.
Because
he didn't get a big tank, and he ran out of fuel going into the fuel stop.
Oh wow!
So it's dry, and he's got to pump the fuel back through.
I thought ran out a couple of times and just caught up to you, didn't he?
Yeah, he ran out a couple of times.
Fuel from someone at a camp and let Isaac keep going, and then just catch back.
Well, I was wondering if he was like actually struggling to keep up with you.
No, well, but other years the other years I had some wild situations the other years where my sweet riders couldn't keep up with me, and I lost them. And one guy had a bolt come out of his handlebars, and his handlebars started moving, so he's pulled into just a camp and gone, whoa, so he's like scrounged a bolt from someone, and I pulled into the fuel stop, and I had 3 riders with me that year, and there's only 2 that turned up, and we're like, he'll figure it out, we've still got 2, and we just kept going. But no, he's a real fast rider. He actually went back the next year, no prep. I think he did half a pre-run, kind of again, and he won the 250F class, I think.
Wow.
Or got second in the 250F class. Look, he could have got third. He got 50th outright.
What's it like? Have you ever done the track on the 250F?
No. I my first year was a 252 stroke.
Okay.
And then second was a 450. I sort of skipped it, which was very, very stupid, because I was a tiny little skinny kid, and if I had stuck to the motocross program, and I mean, my dad never did motocross, he just did Finke, so I didn't really understand motocross, and he wasn't going to take me to motocross, so I sort of had to do it myself, and so I didn't really do that 85 250F junior, 250F senior. I didn't do that thing, so it was just sort of like, he bought me a 450, and that's what I had when I was 17. He's like, there you go. I'm like, okay. And that was an ex-Finke bike, and the thing was like fucking fast.
Yeah.
And lucky I didn't kill myself that year, but I think it was like the second year on that 450, I snapped my shoulder, and that's where the accidents and the heartaches started happening.
I wonder what it'd be like to do on a 250F.
Well, they used to race 125s, and there'd be people cracking the top 20 on 125s, and they were mantled. Yeah,
I don't know how they didn't see that.
I was going to say, I'd just be worried about the thing exploding.
I think pretty much XCII 125 KTMs were the only things that would hang together.
I think, the thing is, you can ride a stock 450 down that track with some good suspension, everything, and be quite competitive. Whereas a 250F, I feel like you need to, if you want to win that class, you have to have a bombed bike.
Yeah, you'd have to, which is just so risky.
Then you have risk of breaking it and the money and everything else. So I think like it's just a cheaper option to get a slightly bigger bike and just ride it on that track.
Yeah.
But there's some people, very close. Did they crack the top 10 or very close to cracking the top 10?
Didn't Jack Simpson go pretty hard on a 250F 1 year?
5th or 6th or something.
Yeah. It's mad.
Man, that was crazy I remember that crash that he had. Like, he fucking almost killed himself in that crash, and like, it was crazy to see the emotion on his face when like he was explaining that story. Like, that rattled his cage, eh? Like he really, you could tell that he was like, fuck man, this could have been bad.
Yeah, I mean, he was having a very good prep. Like everything had gone right, you know, and he was looking very, very quick. But one slip up in the whoops and that's that, you know. We're lucky to have had access to the hospital. We had already had many meetings with the general manager of the hospital saying, look, if one of our characters gets hurt and we want to follow the story, we're going to want to come in with a camera at no notice. So we need to kind of discuss this. So we did, and that was one thing that happened with Jack. And we got into the hospital and got access only a couple of hours after his accident. And once he was, you know, kind of stable and awake and could talk, and so for us it was amazing to be able to be there and capture that. But I mean, it was still heartbreaking for me and for him, and all that work for that. I think because this race is just this thing that happens once a year, and there's these people that's all they do. Yeah, they'll do one race a year. You put a lot of pressure on yourself when you do that. For like Toby and whatnot, when they're doing all these other programs, this is just another thing in the calendar.
Well, that's kind of like Toby. That was Toby's once a year thing, and now his once a year thing's Dakar. Yeah. So it's like I don't know, in that world of, you know, the Baja 1000s or the, it's like you get these specialists, and I think that's why these races have so much history, is because to be the best at that one race, it almost takes a 12-month prep.
But what? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. But
Jack came back and raced it and came. He got a third and then he got a fourth, I think, last year.
And you shot his interview much after the race, didn't you?
I shot his interview after the race when he's all healed up.
Yeah. So he's all healed up, and in the film you'll see it, and he goes, "You either got it or you don't." And I think I've got it. And this was 6 months after that.
Yeah. After that accident, he's already ready to go back. He wanted to race. Like we filmed him. Yeah. We filmed him because I was like talking to Glenn Carney, who's the manager for the KTM off-road team, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "No, Jack's not racing." I'm talking to Jack, and Jack's going, "Yeah, no, I'm racing."
I remember it being
and the team's
out there,
going like, he can't race. We know he can't race, but he just doesn't want to let the team down.
We've got footage, Dylan. Remember of him? He's walking to sign on, and he goes, "Oh shit!" and he cuts off his hospital band and throws it in the bin so we can still sign on to the race.
Like I end up cutting it out because it just kind of at that point we want to fast track into the race. But he's literally broken ribs, cracked vertebrae. Nah, still racing.
Yeah, he's one of the cooler kids going, man. Like he's a super fucking nice, cool kid.
And now he's just doing sweet whips on his CR250.
So he should.
Yeah,
but he'll be back again. You know, I think it's become that thing for him, and it's just.
He got third the following year, didn't he?
He came third the following year, yeah, and then I think fourth last year.
So we got the theatrical release coming up on the 23rd, and then what's January, and what's your? I think we'll wait to release this sort of around that. I'd say, so that you guys sort of.
It's also actually the first screening in January is at IMAX in Melbourne, which is going to be mental.
Yeah, right.
On the 14th or 15th of January.
Cool.
And then it'll go into general release on the 23rd.
Yeah.
And then through it'll really get a push in February.
Yeah.
And hopefully, you know, everyone in the, you know, moto and...
But if you live in a place that we haven't put a screening on, like if you email your local cinema, the closest one to you, and say, I want to watch this film, and a couple of you do that, it will come to you. Like the cinema will buy it and play it.
Yeah, okay.
That's how it sort of works. Like we can try and convince them to play it, but if they don't know you're there,
if
they won't
there's no
play
groundswell.
Yeah.
And digital's helped cinema releases hugely as well. You used to have to spend $3,000 on a film print.
Yeah.
Every cinema, and if you think something like a Star Wars that went to 2,000 cinemas, that's $2,000-$3,000 per screening.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, and now we're in a digital. It's really easy for a little cinema to get this. We send up a hard drive and they can play it.
Yeah, okay. So that's how it works.
Yeah, it's all digital. They're like protected, really amazing files, like
cinema DNGs or whatever.
DNGs.
Yeah.
Or DCPs, Digital Cinema Project.
Yeah.
But it's just it's amazing, and it allows this film, rather than doing 5 prints and, you know, staggering it, we can show everyone at the same time in the smaller cinemas or the bigger cinemas, and in the smallest towns. I mean, we've gone through Lismore, which is small, and that sold out a screening.
Whereabouts?
In Lismore.
Yeah, okay.
Lismore, Cough sold out 2 rooms. I mean, we've over the last 7 days, we've pretty much sold out every screening, and we're still going to have to just try to convince all the theatres that there's an audience for this. They might not have ever come to your cinema and watched a film before, but there's an audience that will come and watch
And
it.
we see a row of bikes out the front of the cinema every time.
Yeah.
Because they've like that's again I ask, and there's like about 15, only about a quarter have been to the cinemas in the last month, and like you said, it's the first time you've been in ages.
Yeah.
So it's going to hopefully bring a huge audience.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
There must be a huge amount of meaning for it to finally be on screens and, you know, seeing people enjoy the film. Like I've genuinely enjoyed it so much, and it's like I'm sure everybody that was there last night had that same feeling.
I think in not having seen the trailer for yourself and genuinely enjoying it, that's what we want. We don't want to put the expectations too high, but you know, for me it is the ultimate reward as a creative, as a filmmaker, is to see an audience watch your film, and not just one person at home watching it by themselves. It's the shared experience. It's that if someone laughs at something in a theater, other people resonate from that.
Well, like when the graphic of Damon's passing on the screen, and it was like you could feel the fucking life get sucked out of the room. You know, it's like it's impactful when you are in that environment and feeling it with other people.
And it's the discussion that people will have when they drive home together about the film. It's the continued experience that we want, and you don't get that watching something at your home entertainment centre. So look, everyone get out there.
Well,
and watch it.
I watched it. You know, every edit you would send through, I would watch an edit, and you're obviously just watching footage constantly, but you kind of don't get a sense of how it feels until you watch it in a cinema with a big audience and you feel it all together. And there's kind of a
like, oh, that joke landed.
Yeah.
So what's next for you boys? Like, is this going to be a director-producer partnership that you hope to continue?
Well, Isaac's worked on different films that I've done in different ways, and I've shot stuff for him, and you know, this is a lifetime friendship, and will be a working relationship, but we also do things separately. Isaac has an awesome TV series. He's going into development or financing at the moment for
what's that about?
ABC Kids.
It's ABC Kids. It's about some kids that get a chance to go to an elite motocross training camp in Alice Springs.
Yeah, right.
So it's ABC Kids, all scripted kind of comedy drama, 10.5 hours.
Yeah,
really?
So
It should be. That'll be huge.
Kids motocross series show in Australia.
Wow.
So it's going to be a really, as you said, you know, most Hollywood stuff does get it wrong, and this is going to be about a really big challenge to try and keep it. I'm already finding that, you know, we've gone through writing for the last kind of couple of years, and writers just don't get it. It's like, it's going to be, you know, I'm on board, and I've just got to make sure as one of the creators, and I'm just constantly making sure they get shit right, and stuff doesn't
make sure
become
2 strokes
goofy.
sound like 2 strokes, and 4 strokes
I'm actually
sound like
putting all the kids are 13, 14, 15, and they're all riding 125s because they're small enough that I don't think they'll get into trouble, but also big enough that you could get. Oh, I just want to get Cody Mackey to come and do all the stunts because he's a rad.
Or just
have you reached out? You know how to get on?
Not yet. No.
Well, let me help you with that.
But I think that's what we'll find.
He rides at KX80 better than KX85 better than anybody.
Do you know who else could be really cool? Is Dylan Long.
Yeah.
That's the fucking guy that you should get.
Whips.
Yeah.
So it's sort of trying to find, because obviously there'll be kids acting, sort of like 15, 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
But then you'll have doubles doing a lot of the writing for them, because that's just the
reality. Jack as well. Jack Simpson.
Yeah.
But so we're looking for like little dudes and you know, men and women who can kind of sell as a 15, 16-year-old.
But then, like, I know that, you know, when someone who can't ride gets on a bike, they don't look like someone who can ride who gets on a bike. Even just sitting there, starting it, all of those things. Like, we've got 2 weeks of bike camp for the actors once it goes into production.
And how far is it away from getting a green light?
We have gotten at this stage, December, we've gotten the green light from everyone bar one
investor.
We've got South Australia, we've got ABC, Australian Children's Television Fund, which is one of the, you know, biggest producers of kids TV in Australia. They've loved it and pushed it from the start, and ABC Kids have pushed it from the start. They're kind of trying to move into a more of a Netflix style model where they don't produce massive amounts of it, but they produce much higher quality content that can go bigger. So, you know, our budget's going to be big, but as with TV, you still, you know, we're producing, it's going to be 5 hours of content or 5 hours of television. So it will be tight and it will be, you know, pushing it through, but the budget's going to be healthy. So we should be able to, you know, make sure. And
when are you shooting?
It's looking like pre goes starts around April, which is just the producers building out the crew and searching for locations and all of that, and then pre starts around June, just after Finke.
Yeah, right.
And then it'll go in and it'll have about a 3-month shoot.
So like August next year. So you'll probably see it 2021.
Yeah, it'll be like a 2021.
ABC Kids.
Yeah,
ABC
right.
Kids. So that should go through. This year I made a doco on male strippers for Vice, which was, check that out.
Really?
It was a cracker of a good time.
Fuck yeah, that's
22 minutes of gyrating torsos.
How did you get onto that whole deal?
They had a competition called, a series called Vice Australiana, which is a kind of interesting Australian subcultures.
Was that the one that they had Graham Abbo Henry on?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, dude, that's like one of my best podcasts. Is with this dude Graham Abbo Henry, and he's like one of the characters of Underbelly. And so Vice did a piece on him, like at one of Australia's underworld gangsters or whatever, and it was one of those sort of 22-minute deals. And then a friend of mine sent that to me, and then I mentioned it to another friend of mine, and then he's like, dude, his grandkids play football with my kids. So like we ended up, but yeah, Vice do fucking crazy cool shit.
They're doing a second series of it now. Like they're doing a call out as we speak.
They've done it. They've done actually a few series. So the one a couple of years ago that I really first kind of caught on to was called Rage in a Cage, which is kids that do burnouts in country Australia that's kind of ravaged by ice, and burnouts is an outlet for them. Yeah. So they just do burnouts in cars, and that was amazing. And then last year was called Shooting Cats, about these people in, I think, Queensland who go out to shoot feral cats because they're killing the natural flora and fauna. Yeah. And so that was really, really shocking. And then, you know, we pitched one about male strippers, and we flew to Cairns with a bunch of male strippers.
Really?
And that was pretty funny.
But what is doing Cairns? Because that's my fucking stomping grounds. Where's the weird zone there?
Well, there's a Gilligan's.
Yes.
Gilligan's.
Been drunk as fuck there a bunch of times.
Yeah, boy. They have a kind of, I forgot what it's called, but it's basically a sex festival. Yeah, and right. We didn't know what we were getting ourselves into until the week before, and they had a BDSM dungeon upstairs.
Wow.
And
at the Attic, the club called the Attic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then the main stage was the guys stripping and a few other kind of acts, but the audience was like 300 women in lingerie. Wow. And that was, you know, I'm sitting at the back of the audience with a monitor watching backstage, and I've never felt so lonely in a room full of women in lingerie before. I've never been in a room full of women in lingerie, sadly, but.
What a bizarre
It's an
deal.
interesting doco. People should check it out. I found it really, really interesting.
I'm going to watch it for sure.
Just because there's these fellas and they're trying to battle the fact that they, in this industry, they get paid less than women. Yeah. And it's sort of like, fucking hell, man. Like,
I think
and this guy's been a male stripper. He won't say exactly how long he's been a male stripper because it ages him. And in the world, you don't want to age too fast. Yeah. So I think he's been doing it for 10 years, for the last 10 years. Yeah. But he's really adamant that it's an art, and they do like a 2-hour choreograph.
It is.
Shows.
It's a performance.
It is
a full performance.
The very first time we met them was in a dance studio. It was these like 5 buff as dudes in this massive dance studio with multiple little studios, and across the hall were these kids doing ballet, and there was some like modern tap dancers or something, and then we were filming these buff dudes. It was very funny.
That's like one of the weird things just about like the sex industry in general, is that now women really hold like a lot of power in that industry, especially with like the whole private Snapchat thing, and there's ways that women through the internet have been so empowered in that industry. I think it's fucking awesome.
They own it, you know. It's not for men to tell them what they can and can't do.
Yeah, and
but Isaac, you were so you're making this thing for Vice, this male stripper doco, but he was simultaneously making a short film for ABC Kids.
Yeah.
It's sort of like it's these two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, I filmed Monday.
Hey, get that fucking paper, son.
and I was teaching film at uni, and so I only had a 2-week break in the middle of the year. And week 1, I filmed a kids' TV show that played on ABC a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
And then the next week I flew to Cairns, and then I went back to teaching the next week after that. It was mental. I also had a doco series go into development about kids that play AFL in Papua New Guinea. So we flew over to Papua New Guinea for a week and filmed over there and kind of pitched a 4-part, 1-hour kind of series. And it looks really good, and it'll just be a matter of when in the year, because this isn't, but like there's a clear season that is sort of April to October or whatever, and this other kid series, the big it's called Mavericks. Mavericks Academy. We'll be filming in that series, so this
might have to be put on hold. It's always a balance and a sort of puzzle.
World,
you'd find the same thing, just of a freelance sort of creative lifestyle where you don't know what's going to get greenlit.
Well,
next.
That's the fucking thing why I love doing this so much, because I just greenlight whatever the fuck I want, and that just sort of works. Like I just literally don't care anymore. Like I just put shit up whatever I want whenever I want, because I did get sick of that whole process of pitching and budgets and we don't have money on this one, but on this next one that we're looking at, and then the fucking revisions, and I was just like, cool, I'm out.
What have you found the most rewarding doing something like this and talking to people?
This shit actually fucking helps a lot of people, man. Like I genuinely feel nowadays like I do. Like I've actually noticed, honestly, I've noticed how selfish I was before I started doing this, because you can feel and you know how much this helps people. There's so many different episodes about so many different topics, and there's a lot of people that are going through a lot of different things, and I don't think people have the access to like legitimate mentors that they probably should. Like I'm lucky in my life, like I'm around a bunch of great people, and if I've got problems I can lean on those people, and I can ask people for advice. I can get, I can hear stories from people that are successful, or they've come from this and now they're here. And I think that a lot of people genuinely don't have that in their life in this day and age, based on geography, socioeconomic status. Like there's a lot of people that don't have access to the kind of stuff that I have had access to, and I think that this is able to deliver very inspirational people with great messages, people with amazing stories, and you get to hear it in like a very honest and raw format, and it does help people. And I think that
absolutely, man,
that's the thing that I think made me realize, like I was just shooting porn before this. Like what I was doing before this, like, it was amazing, and I fucking loved it. I got to travel the world, and I was with a lot of great people. But it wasn't impactful, I don't think, in any way other than just kind of keeping on pushing like that elitist kind of thing. So with this, it's just feels very genuine. It feels very real, and I know from the hundreds of messages that I get that it does help people and inspires people. And I think that that's a positive thing to be putting out into the world these days.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, the same applies with the films that I want to make and do. I think my parents distilled in me from being very young that if you're given an opportunity to make a film, make sure you have something to say. Make sure it's not just entertainment like the porn that you're talking about. And that's why I've stayed clear of ads. I've stayed clear of a commercial world, or just being a gun for hire on anything. And that's definitely at a cut to,
it's a detriment,
like,
for sure,
to the financing. Like I don't make a lot of money at all, but I think it's really important that with the stories we tell, that they are saying something and improving the world that we live in some way.
I really feel that, you say geography, I really feel that geography changes the opportunities you have.
100% it does. 100%.
In Alice, I was working as a draftsman, and I was riding because everyone else there was riding, and so I was able to get help. I can't just jump on a bike and go for a ride. And then moved to Melbourne, incredible for filmmaking, incredible for, kind of the art scene. But I've never, hooked up with the crew that rides, or, I went surfing yesterday, and I just never hooked up with the crew that does that down there. And so even now I have that kind of really big separation. And in some ways, Dylan's the link between those two worlds, which thank you, Dylan.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's that, you know, Dylan's that link that you know, gives me the opportunity to do these other things that are not, you know, that I don't get a chance to do down in Melbourne. And, you know, it is a little bit, you know, it's a little bit about building a community.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'll say for me, it's a little bit more difficult to build that community because, you know, if you go riding, you just take a ute and chuck your bike and go for a ride and then have a chat to some people in the pits. If I go riding, I've got to, and I don't know the people already, I've got to call up randoms and be like, hey, mate, I don't know you, but come and help me ride. Or I've got to ask my mates down there that are in film that have no idea what a motorbike is.
Yeah.
And
have you got a bike with you in Melbourne, like you could ride?
Not at the moment, but I'm going to get mine down.
Let me know when you do, and we'll put a call out because there'll be some people in the gypsy gang that would go riding with you for sure.
And motocross is different because I mean you need to be lifted on the bike, held at the gate. Yeah. But then once the gate drops, it's up to you. Like there's no support riders in that world. But it's just having those people in the pits. Hey.
Well,
hey, building that community.
We got to shut this one down, just because we got people coming in here after you boys. But I really, really appreciate it. You guys did a fucking amazing job on this film. Everybody listening, you have to go see it in a cinema near you when it does come out. I will stay on the social media updates to let everybody know.
Yeah. Think there and back. If you go madman.com/think, it'll come up. Otherwise, just Google Think There and Back, and it'll be everywhere.
No, and I really appreciate the time. It was an awesome chat. I wish we could have done a little bit longer, but you guys are both really cool fucking people, and I'm appreciative of you making the time to come and do the podcast.
No, thank you. Cheers, bro.
Appreciate it. Done, boys.
Cool.